Hey, everybody, and welcome. I'm here with a half alive Execute. Execute, how are you, buddy?
I can't say the F word this early in the stream.
We'll get there. We'll get there. Don't.
I'm cooked. I'm cooked.
Everyone, let me know if his volume is okay. I didn't have time to do a sound check before show started. Things kind of caught up with me, but it is the big one. Finally, we're here. It is the Perseus giveaway stream. As you know, about a month and a half ago, we started the Gleam giveaway for an RSI Perseus with 120 months insurance. Well, that happens tonight. We're going to do the drawing live tonight. Those of you that have been watching the stream consistently over the past, was it 2 weeks, when I mentioned that if you're watching the streams, you get percentage multipliers on your entries. That's happening. So that's a thing. That's going on. We have another giveaway I'm going to talk about in a minute. I'm going to reveal the next giveaway. So a lot of that is happening. So it should be cool. Tonight is going to be a little bit of a freeform episode. Execute's on with us, which is a great freeform guest to randomly talk to me about stuff in his tired zombie-like way.
No true serum required today.
No true serum. It's going to be the good, the bad of IAE, but I think we're also going to talk a little bit about 2026 because I think IAE gave us some clues to 2026. We're going to obviously, like I said, do the giveaways, all that good stuff. Art will probably join us around 7 p.m. or so on voice to chat and all that kind of good stuff. It's like I said, it's been a journey. So I want to kind of go ahead and get into things and not waste too much time because we have a lot to talk about. The first thing, though, right off the bat is the Perseus giveaway, which is not currently showing in my screen, which is not very helpful to you all. So I got to fix that, which I'm going to do now.
He's retracted it, everyone. You get nothing.
Yes.
That's what that means. Nothing.
I knew that by having you on, something was going to mess up.
That's why he didn't get prepared. Professional. This is what you
all
get.
Right, here we go. Let me pull up. Let me pull that up here. That's all. It's always something. I swear, it's always something. What's weird is I was just talking to Execute about this earlier. It's like every time I come back to OBS has just said, I'm gonna just forget everything you have done nonstop for the last few weeks. We're just going to forget all that and we're going to do our own thing. How about that? So it's been frustrating, but here we go. But I almost got it right. But yes, Perseus giveaway is going on. That is live, as you all know. The QR code should be on your screen. Hopefully, just doing some cropping. QR code is on your screen. The Gleam link is about to be posted into chat. Let me go ahead and get that ready. Obviously, I am not super prepared tonight. There's the Gleam link going into chat right now. Get in on that if you haven't already, because this is it. It's being given away tonight. I'm going to draw it live on stream, so there will be a winner tonight.
Can I enter? But if I win, I get to pick who gets it.
Of course, yeah. Okay, here's how I run this, and just so everyone in chat knows. First off, everyone in chat, thank you for hanging out and talking stuff with us tonight. Talking all things Star Citizen with us tonight. It's been awesome the last 2 or 3 months. Huge turnout, which I appreciate. We did finally apply for partner. I'm sure we'll get denied a few times. That's just the way it works. But I do appreciate all you in chat showing up. Here's how I do the giveaways. If it's a CIG sponsored giveaway, which Hudson Hawk, by the way, won the Drake Clipper courtesy of CIG. So congrats, Hudson. We did that giveaway a week or so ago. But if it's a ship out of my hangar that I paid for with my money, then the way I do the giveaway is everyone is eligible except for me, because I don't give there's actually no real benefits to anyone other than special things I've talked about, where if you watch the streams, you get a multiplier or something on your entries. So anyone can enter, VMXEO can enter, Ender can enter, anyone, because it's my ship out of my hangar. That's the way I'm running it. So yes, absolutely, Execute, you can. And the Perseus is out of my hangar, damn it. So
what do you want us to repost on X for? What do you want us to post, though? You haven't said what to post.
It takes me. Yeah, it takes you to one that's the one you're supposed to repost. Yeah. And the other thing too is if you're already a follower on Twitch or X or anything, you don't have to unfollow and refollow, by the way. It just automatically detects. Okay. So there you go. Perseus giveaway. Make sure you get in on that. Okay. Next giveaway for tonight. Okay. We're going to give away an Epoch, hopefully I'm saying that right, Epoch Aves patch bundle. This is the one you see on your screen here. We gave one away last stream. This is the other one I got, so we're going to give this one away. How do you enter that? Well, if you are over on YouTube, you'll see a link pinned to top of chat. That is my part 2 of my new player guide that I posted a couple weeks back. All you got to do is leave a comment on that video. It can be hi, hello, how are you? It can be anything. And if you're over on Twitch, all you have to do, very simple, is do exclamation ticket. That has just started. You can get in on that. Let's see if a couple people do it so I can see if it works. Hopefully we'll get some ticket entries. But yeah, we're doing that giveaway. There we go. Okay. Okay, they're coming in now. So yeah, we'll give this away tonight. That will be the first giveaway we do tonight. More than a few. And we'll do the Perseus giveaway at the end of the show, obviously. Okay. So wanted to talk about those two things. Let me go back to my show notes here real quick. Oops, I got something. Bear with me. Real quick. Execute before we get into anything else. How have you been? How has coverage for the info runners been for the last 2 weeks for IAE? I know you've been running pretty hard.
You fucking kidding me? I'm exhausted. So are you kidding me? Are you serious?
See, I can't do that. It's too much for me. I have to pace it out on just the special days. Originally, I had planned to even stream on Kruger and Grey Cat, but I didn't do either one of those. I only did RSI, a Drake, and then an IAE recap. So you went hard, but we all appreciate it.
Well, I do it every year, but I actually enjoy helping people. That's one of my main motivators. Like that's where a lot of the upgrade guides and stuff like that come from. Got a hydrate apparently.
Yeah, I mean, it's, I just did the new player guide specifically, well, for 2 reasons. One, to help with damn referrals, because I've gotten one in like the 16 years I've been part of this project. No, obviously I'm exaggerating, but
I
also
got one. Yeah,
did you?
I got one, and then the next day IAE started, and they had the star kitten. It's like,
perfect.
Why couldn't you wait one day?
Perfect.
No,
yes,
it's fine.
Perfect.
Very
cool. Well, yeah, I ended up for the Star Kitten thing. I ended up doing my own referral for that, but then suddenly the new player guide started working, and some referrals have come in, so it's been cool. It's been very cool. But
our friend Pickles has been doing an experiment too. Has he talked to you about
that? Yeah, and actually you just reminded me of something. I gotta start the bot. So if you wouldn't mind talking for a minute about your IAE experience, just in general, just top level stuff. We're gonna get into all the ship specifics and all that kind of stuff, but maybe just your overall opinion of IAE this year and all that kind of good stuff while I get the bot started.
I think I'll just start at the kind of beginning. I was kind of surprised, like, where all the ships kind of dropped, and there was nothing that was, they all had like a little surprise left to give us. That was really interesting. They'd all been things that we'd missed. Like even the flipper. I'm so glad to have that ship out of my head. And I know you and Triss are the same. Like it's
the Flappy Bird.
Yeah, the Flappy Bird.
Our favorite.
I think I'm gonna have to. I think I'm gonna have to get one and call it a Flappy Bird. So yeah.
I mean, are you a little upset that they didn't have a paint called the Flappy Bird? I honestly was hoping we get something like that.
No, not really. They don't have to cater to me at all. I want them to cater to the masses. Isn't that the way you should do it?
I don't know. I would have loved a clipper though that would have had like the World War II sort of like nose art painted, like of a Flappy Bird or something. That would have been killer. I'm just saying, CIG missed opportunity.
Like a stork or a chicken or something, and it was like just across the entire thing.
Yes.
That could have been cool. Like makes the entire clipper. No, it's called the flipper, and it's it's the flipper skin, and it just puts feathers all over it and a big rooster head or something like that. That could have been funny.
By the way, everyone, the bot is running. You can do question. I think it'll pick up any case sensitivity there, I think. But if not, it's capital Q and then lowercase question. The bot is running, though. We'll see how it does tonight. I know we're sort of doing some additional testing, but obviously we'll get to questions as we go. But I mean, I guess you would say execute pretty exciting IAE. I mean, it was honestly more exciting than I thought. I thought that Perseus was going to be the really only interesting thing. Maybe we'd get that Drake ship, but overall, I felt like CIG did a great job of keeping the entire show energy up all the way even to the end, where you know, on Aegis Day, you know, we had even speculated, we were like, oh, the things are going to slow down. It's just Aegis. It's probably just because it's the big manufacturer. And then boom, they release all these skins that they haven't released in forever. You know what I mean? And patch bundles and all this stuff. So it did feel like it was like surprise after surprise.
So I'll tell you a little secret.
Yeah.
Because I'm so sleep deprived, I'm running a lot on adrenaline, and because of my condition, I'm like really kind of more hypo than usual, and so I've got to really control myself to slow myself down. And the first day those skins dropped, I recorded an episode, and then the guys are always like, "You've got to re-record that," and I'm like, "Yeah." Like, well, I said straight off the bat, "I've got to re-record that, boys," and then they're like, "Yeah, you really, really do," because I've been telling people for years that they weren't exclusive, and I was like, vindication! I was just like giving everyone shit and all this type of stuff. So I re-recorded it and really controlled myself a lot more and slowed it down. But it, I'd been saying for years that they weren't, and I know there were a lot of people that were probably bittersweet that they'd spent a lot of money, but in hindsight, look at the number of people who can come along now and like whoever that marketing person is, they attack the crap out of whoever the black market is. Like they just
Yeah, you know, here's my thoughts on that, because I've had a lot of opinions on it. I saw someone, it might have been Mr. Kraken on X the other day, kind of say something similar, and I did get to thinking about it a little bit, and I was like, you know, it's funny. At first I had that same sort of reaction where I was like, oh yeah, the gray market going to take an ass whooping here. This is a direct attack on them. And I do think that is the case at the moment. The funny thing is in those quiet months, I almost think this is going to be a great thing for the gray market, not for me, for the gray market specifically, because they're going to get restocked. And while prices may come down on the stuff overall, they're going to have more stock to sell. And here's the thing, the gray market caters to two types of buyers. The whole limited buyers, in my opinion, but then probably more so, they cater to the people that want something now. Because people buy stuff on there that's not even hard to get, but they want it at that exact moment. You know what I mean?
So there's two parts to this though, right?
Yeah.
Now more people will have more of them, not just the resellers.
True.
The market is going to drop out the butt. So instead of paying like a patch bundle for $100 or you know, $200 for a best in show scan or whatever, you or a friend should be able to get one within 12 months. Or if your friends are knowledgeable enough, like I'm not saying like me, but like what I've done, where you buy them and melt them into buyback, which I think a lot of people do now, they'll just be able to buy one for you at cost, you know, so that's really helpful. And I even think then if you don't have friends and you get one off a resale, it's not going to be like, maybe it'll be double the price. So at least the whole thing's come down.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of glad CIG have done this, because let's be honest, when you're buying off a reseller, that's literally, say it costs $10 for the skin, and they were making 100, that's zero money that CIG made.
Right.
When they could have made $10. And I think realistically, most of us would rather it go to the game than go to some reseller guy.
Sure. Yeah. And I mean, I kind of knew something was going to be different, you know, in terms of just what all they were going to be offering. And I honestly, I know you said you had been thinking about it and saying it. I hadn't even really thought about it. myself with the patch bundle specifically, but I did know something was different on like the first day of IAE when the referral bonus is the Star Kitten Dragonfly. I was like, oh,
Yep,
okay,
that was awesome.
something's different
Yep.
here. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because there was
It,
a multitude of reasons why I didn't think that was ever going to come back, and now I think
well,
it has changed the landscape.
hindsight's a beautiful thing. You can see whoever that person is has learned that they had a stock of all this stuff they've used before, and they've just delved back into it to make money to
Yeah.
fund marketing,
Yeah.
to fund the marketing squadron.
And
Um,
and I
really good.
definitely want to get to the funding discussion here, and actually I think it's our very next thing we're going to talk about. So this is a nice segue. I do want to pause real quick, everybody, and switch over to something I do want to talk about. Everyone, don't forget we have 2 sponsors of the show. We have iconcity.uk. James over there is awesome. Make sure you go over to iconcity.uk. Going to be getting back to giving away Star Citizen icon packs for your stream decks very soon. But Icon City have been a long time StarJump supporter. Make sure you go over there, use a StarJump code. I believe it gives you 10-15% off. I should have looked that up again. I think it's 10% off. Go over there and check. But support them. Again, small businesses, definitely give them some support. I know they will appreciate it. Again, longtime supporter. And then obviously we have a new supporter for Shipyard right now, which let me switch. I can't find anything tonight. Which is obviously Pigeon Spaceport. They make the Scorpius models that you can go check out. They're really, really cool. If you've seen any of the stuff at Citizen Con and stuff, like the Port Olisar model, the Retribution model, etc., these are the guys that made that. Again, this stuff is officially licensed by CIG, of course. They've got it on their partner website. Again, they built the Retribution, built the Olisar, really, really cool stuff. If you haven't checked those out. Stuff's highly engineered, ABS injected. Haven't had one in hand yet, so can't comment on anything beyond that, but they are going to send one.
We're going to be supporting these guys as well.
Yeah.
They want to sell. I assume they want to send you a pack as well.
Yeah.
Of all 3 Scorpiuses.
Yeah, I think they are. I think they're looking at anyone who's very ship focused, which makes sense, and they've been great to talk to. And I kind of like all the back and forth that's been going with them. You can use a StarJump code over there and get a discount, obviously. Currently, they only have the Scorpius, but you can get it in different paint jobs and stuff. The big thing here is when we get one in hand. Yeah, go ahead.
It's weird to call them not cheap, but they're cheaper than the actual digital ships. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you think of it like that.
If you just want to hold it and go, you're good.
Well, they articulate those, so like
Yes,
they actually have hinges and all that. So
functional wing articulation
and fold in, and essentially they're like a really giant. The way they're assembled, from what I can tell from talking to the guys, is they're essentially like a giant X-wing miniatures model.
Yeah.
So they are injected molded, and then they're machine painted and all that type of stuff as well. And there's 3 different paint stuff. So after me and Alga looked at him, Alga's really into miniatures, so he knows a lot more about than I do. But he was really impressed.
Yeah.
And I wasn't so sure at the start, but I really wanted to get his say so. So I think I'll really leave my judgment till I have one in hand.
Yep. Same.
And I kind of said that to them. I said I really want to have one in hand before I start backing you guys, because I want to see it for myself. I don't want to just say these are amazing without
and that's what we've been saying here. Obviously, when I get one in hand, we'll do a full review like we do anything that's sent in. It's been a while though since we've done anything, because I kind of paused partnerships for a while there. But yeah, Pigeon Spaceport, make sure you go check them out. I'll put the link down in chat. Obviously, go give them a look, go give them a little bit of love if you like what they do. Obviously, do the research yourself. I'm not your daddy, but it's cool stuff. And there you go. And again, we're starting to see more and more, Star Citizen related product partners out there. If you go, I think it was around Invictus that CIG put out their partner page that had a bunch of companies that they're partners with now. So go check that out.
They are looking at doing more ships too. This is the test of the water with the Scorpius, and then they got a few more that they've shown us in the background as well. So yeah. But the ones that articulate are really good choices, because then again it makes it like a big toy. I know it sounds weird, but
So yeah, support the companies you enjoy their products of. Again, questions are coming in, everyone. Appreciate that. I do want to segue directly into. I keep losing my notes page. Sorry. We're going to kind of go right into.
Man, I'm tired. I swear you
Same.
were about to say lose my nudes, but yeah.
My
But
nudes might be out there. Good luck. I mean,
yeah.
you know, I don't know. I can't tell you. I can't what to do. But you know, take a look at my nudes if you want. No, I did want to kind of go right into funding for Star Citizen. I'm gonna switch over here. This is a little cropped. Why are all my windows cropped? Everyone, I don't know what everything's broken tonight, but we're gonna struggle through it.
Do you know you got a subscriber only chat turned on Twitch? I don't know if you knew that.
I accidentally turned it on. Yep. I just
you did.
disabled it. Yep.
Yeah, just let you know.
Yep.
Just let you know.
Let me bring up the funding chart that's having a little trouble loading, but essentially, no big mystery here. A lot of people have covered it. Huge funding for this IAE. I think, I mean, easily the biggest by far, and then some of all time. This year's on track to become one of the biggest funding years on record. I think I have been watching a lot of content creators over the past week, specifically talking about the funding as the numbers for IAE have started to solidify. And, you know, it's kind of interesting. I've heard a lot of different kind of theories for why this is. It's probably a little bit of all of it, but obviously we have the monthly cadence thing. We have the focus on stability and optimization. We have ship sales every single month of this past year. There's a lot of there's core tech milestones and server meshing. There's the final the beginning of this year, the release of a new system and for the first time since Stanton came out. So there's a lot of things you can factor into this, but yeah,
more people. There's just more people as well.
More people. There's I think the energy that's starting to bubble up behind Squadron 42, because even big time streamers like Asmongold and others were like watching the Squadron 42 gameplay trailer. So there's buzz there. So I guess I'll hand it over to you, XQ. What do you think is driving this insane sales this year?
It's a combination of everything you mentioned, all accumulating together, and it's all building hype, and it's all coalescing.
Yeah.
It's just all, you know, like you can look at the thing from the very beginning. It has gradually gone up and up and up, and ironically, you can almost see when new things change. Like you can see where COVID happened. You can see all these other things. It's just, as you said, like next year is going to be one of the coolest years for this game. And I mean that as in not like, how do I put this? Because Squadron is releasing, I'll kind of put this back to you a little bit, but I'd assume 6 months before it's coming out, we're going to hit this massive marketing momentum type thing. And, you know, from Invictus to AIE, I think is just going to be insane. They're going to have, I'd be expecting all these ships to come out, all this type of stuff, like just driving funding, driving hype, little sneak peek trailers, whatever they're going to do, it's just going to snowball, bro.
And I guess that's sort of the question is there's sort of two things going on here that I think about when I think of 2026. One of those is, okay, you've done this well in 2025. You don't want to do worse than what you did in 2025. So now the pressure is on to make 2026 an equally good year. At the very minimum, it needs to be equally good, if not better, obviously. And then on the flip side of that, the issue is that next year's kind of a giant question mark if they're still on track for Squadron, because we don't know how Squadron's release is going to affect the how much money is raised next year. But more importantly, what like if CIG expects Squadron to come out next year, we don't know what their internal number milestones are, right? Because I'm sure they've got some numbers they've earmarked for Squadron's release that like, hey, we kind of need to hit this ballpark for this to be viable or successful or whatever. So I would think that some of their sales that they're going to do throughout the year next year for Star Citizen primarily are going to maybe be centered around Squadron or the expectation that Squadron's coming out. At least I would expect that. We've already heard from Jared that there's going to be a slowdown of content. It's not going to be monthly. It's going to be probably every 2 months or something. But
Well, yeah, well, I talked to a few people. It was just really hard for the mission team to maintain
yeah,
the month-to-month credence. And obviously they had a few issues, like quality issues and stuff like that. So it just gives them a bit more breathing room, and it allows the events to run longer as well. But they could also probably make events a little larger, if you know what I mean. So so basically it's quality goes up, the event lasts longer. So it's again, they can try it, and if it doesn't quite work, they can readjust, can't they?
yeah.
If it then go to a month and a half, they can go back to 2 months, one every month. They can do what they want. It's testing the water.
And Cyberwolf says brings up kind of an interesting point there. He says Squadron 42 is probably going to be counted separately from a funding standpoint because it's not backer funding. The interesting thing there, though, and I kind of know what you're saying. I don't know if that's the right terminology, Cyberwolf, backer funding, but let's just assume it is. The only flip to that idea, though, is Squadron's going to be bought by people buying Squadron 42 for sure, but there's no way in hell CIG doesn't have Star Citizen related crap for you to buy that's not tied to Squadron 42. It's just they're going to milk that cow for its worth.
Yeah, if you don't think there's going to be some kind of Squadron Collector's Edition upgrade for those that already have Squadron, or a Collector's Edition,
or
you go rocks in your heads,
or even or hell, I could even see them selling Squadron exclusive paint pack for select ships, just for Star Citizen.
Absolutely,
that's not even related to, like, you don't even have to own Squadron for it. You can just buy the Squadron 42 livery pack. Whatever. There's a lot they could do there.
Even merch for Squadron, so like someone's jacket or something like that, you can buy a Squadron cap. I even reckon they might even go even further. We'll see what happens. Like it depends how much they want, how far they want it to go. Like a signed merch by X or whatever. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know. It really is up to them how far they want to go.
I mean,
but I wouldn't rule anything out for funding.
I mean, for people like us that try to get Star Citizen and have for a long time get Star Citizen information and stuff out to our communities, next year is a little bit like of an unknown for us, because Squadron 42, again, if it does indeed come out, and it is a big if, but if it does, it's going to bring in a lot of people that have no interest in Star Citizen. They're just wanting to play Squadron 42 because they saw the fancy trailer play on IGN or whatever. 2, it's going to bring in a whole bunch of other content creators, streamers, influencers, all that kind of stuff are going to come along for the ride. Even though it's temporary, they'll still be there. And then for people like us, I think it's figuring out, how do we discuss Squadron in relation to Star Citizen? And I think we still have to kind of see what CIG does in terms of the synergy between the two products, because I would think they're going to exploit that heavily. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think the most obvious thing is you finish Squadron and there's something there that tells you that it connects to Star Citizen.
Yeah.
So continue the multiplayer journey in Star Citizen or something like that,
Yeah.
I'd be really surprised, because that's where you grab people. Go, what? I can keep playing this. I can go into a multiplayer. Like it's really obvious. I think they'll at the very least give us copies of the games to give away as content creators. I don't think we'll see it early. I really don't. I don't think we should either.
No,
you've kind of had this story protected for so long, you'd want to continue to protect it. And then just everyone plays it on the same day.
Yeah, for sure. I 100% think that the people that have been backing it for so long, they need to get it the moment it's available. And I do think CIG's learned a little bit of that from some past mistakes related to early PTU waves and Evocati waves. They've learned a few mistakes about dropping things too early for certain people, not others. So
you can do it. It's a bit different with content creators though. Like, so I'm sitting here going, what could an exception be, right? And if you had an embargo for an actual review, but all the reviews went up at the same time, that I could possibly see. But that would then mean that we're all under a really heavy NDA. And obviously, if you got caught out, you'd be done. Like if you accidentally leak it early, you'd be out of the content creator program
And there's two things to
You don't.
sort of kind of consider here.
Yeah.
Sure, there's what we do, right? We're kind of
Mm,
discussion people. We don't really, I mean, we stream the game
yep.
sometimes, but we're primarily discussion. We talk about things, all that kind of good
Yep.
stuff. But when Squadron comes into the mix, you're going to have streamers and content creators with millions of followers jumping in
Yeah.
this for an afternoon, you know, even though we know they won't be around forever. They'll come into it temporarily while it's hot. And I'm really interested to see how CIG navigates those waters because they've never had to navigate those waters before. Even with the biggest Star Citizen streamers and content creators that are out there
Mm,
now, are nothing in terms of scale compared to some of the people that will jump in for a month in this.
yep.
And is CIG prepared with all that? Are they going to pre-release stuff so that early reviews of the game can be done? I don't know how they're going to do it. Because
Mm.
I'm just saying it's going to be
I
interesting to see.
I I wouldn't. How do I put this? I wouldn't hope they pay people to play it. I don't think they need to do that. I think it's one of
Yep.
those games that will speak for itself. To give an example, there's a really big streamer called Summit1G, and
Yep.
those of you that
Summit.
follow the game,
Yep.
he's played it a few times. And if it shows that he's played Star Citizen, you can instantly tell he's going to play Squadron.
Yeah.
And the hype that I believe, like you guys saw the trailers, right? So to me, that game sells itself, right? And it's one of those things that'll come out, we'll start playing it, and we'll give it to our friends. I don't think it's going to be a game that is like day one, top of the sales.
Yeah.
I think it is going to be like in the maybe a week, 2 weeks, the word will get out and it'll just explode, right? That's what I think is going to happen because it's just like that trailer alone tells me the quality of the game that we're going to expect. What game do you know that has essentially an hour and a half, almost a full movie as the intro to the game? That's just bananas.
Yeah, and real quick, Relentless in chat, no, you do not have to be here to win the Perseus because it's done through Gleam, so whoever wins will get an automatic notification. So yeah, it's done through Gleam. You don't have to be here. I have all your contact information.
But you don't get a skin.
You don't.
That's what you should be doing.
That's
what you should be doing.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw in a skin. It might be the concierge skin, and you have to be watching to get that.
Actually, or you could just make it they pick which one they want off the store. You could just do that.
Oops.
If they're here.
True. Yeah.
That's how we motivate people to stay on our stream. So I just recommend the same thing.
I mean, it's just going to be interesting to see because, and I know we kind of went into content creator streamer world for a minute, but it really applies to a lot of things. Essentially what we're saying is it's going to be interesting to see how CIG navigates the waters when they have a full game release out in the world and another live product still in development that they're supporting. It's going to be uncharted territory for CIG, and I'm really interested to see how it, nets out.
I think those of us that are more hardcore though can look at the creative side of it and see how that relates to the success of this game. It is going to be a big drive on how it's going to work.
Yeah.
And I think we've all been here for a very long time and we all want to see it succeed. So I don't think it's too difficult to look at it that way.
Yeah.
Personally.
Yeah. Steelworker, first time chatter says, can't wait to see what happens for Squadron 42. I agree. I mean, I'm there. Rage One just donated 50 biddies. Appreciate that. What is that? What is that? That is the weirdest little icon. Rage One, what?
It's a named horse. It came up in the screen and went, no.
I didn't even know you could do that. Thank you, Rage. Appreciate you, buddy. Hope you're doing well tonight. Yeah, so let's hit a few questions. And essentially what we're going to do for questions, everyone, is I'm going to take a few, and then we'll kind of keep talking on some of our topic stuff. Then we'll take a few more and stuff like that. I do have a list here because Piggles bot's running. Piggles, appreciate you. Let's do the first one. DJ Morse's question: will there be another day of war bond CCUs, or is now the time to make the purchase? Now is the time to make the purchase because they just announced that there will not be any tomorrow.
Can I pimp my video?
Yeah, please do. Please.
We have an upgrade guide on the Infos channel. Hang on, I'll get you a link.
Throw me the link. Let me post that in. I actually just watched that today. A great video. The one with Lemming, right?
Yep. The one with Lemming.
That's it's great. It's a fantastic video.
I'll send it to you because you want to post it. So that's fine. There you go. So I just sent that to you.
Cool. I need to give you the ability to do links. Here's the link to that video, everyone. Make sure you go check that on YouTube. And if you're not already watching the Info Runners, what are you doing? Watch them.
Long story short, it allows you as a new person just to kind of follow it along and jump off to a certain ship or get like a Polaris for much cheaper. I think it was $310 cheaper. Not the best as other years,
Yeah.
but still pretty good. It was really weird actually. If you looked at the CCU chain, it kind of goes really well up to the Asgard, and then it just stops.
Yeah.
And there's like a $300 gap. So anything you want to get below the Asgard, I'd highly recommend. Otherwise, I'd be kind of sitting and waiting to get some more CCUs in those gaps.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of speculation CCUs because of the cargo ships all going up as well. So
Yeah.
Raelian, Holby, Ironclad are all really big contenders.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about some of those. Shimpasta's question says, "Release the Kraken." Couldn't agree more. Thank you very much. It's the best question. It's the best question of the night already. Thank you.
I think it. Can I be honest? With the Pioneer, if we don't see the Pioneer next year, I think the Kraken's delayed another year. If that makes sense. So
I definitely don't think Pioneer's next year, and I don't think Kraken's next year.
So there was Pioneer started development a year before the Kraken.
Yep.
Right, and then so basically, you know what I mean? So if we don't see the Pioneer next year, that means the Kraken's also a year back. So we'll see.
You know what I think?
I don't know.
Here's where I've come to on the Pioneer. I think the Pioneer is going to be the Hull C, the new Hull C, where it's the ship that they get back to when they can, because it's got so many like gates that they have to wait on, like feature gates. Like they probably have to wait on the gate for ground resource extraction. They have to wait for crafting. They probably have to wait for fabrication hangar, to all that kind of shit. So drones, you know what I mean? Drones is another one. So it's just got so much like feature tech, just like the command module for the Ironclad. It's got so much feature tech that they're waiting on. It's just going to be one of those ships that pauses. And it's partially why I wonder if the Kraken maybe did move into development, because they're like, well, we need something big to work on.
Possibly.
I don't know.
But
I'm
also
speculating.
using the tech of the command modules, what other chips can we see coming down the pipe? Because we know once they get a thing in, they start to try and use that as something else.
By the way, someone just mentioned on the last episode that CIG needs to add a little docking thing for the Caterpillar and Ironclad command modules to dock to the Kraken. I do think that'd be a great idea.
Yeah.
Like, in all seriousness, not just to like feature creep the Kraken. I actually do think that'd be a solid idea for that ship. So
I've had a lot of people say they want to see a ship like Obi-Wan Kenobi's in the Star Wars prequels.
Yeah.
So he had the ring thing and you detach from it.
Yeah.
So its weakness is that it has to leave its jump drive in space, sort of. I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
So some kind of attack fighter that has a really powerful jump drive that speeds it up significantly or something like that. But the weakness is that it becomes a snub when it's not around it. I think that could be really interesting. Like a massive benefit, then a massive drawback would really, you know how we've seen some ships that really took it out of the meta a bit this year, like the Flipper. Well, I was about to say the Flipper. The Clipper. But yeah, I've got it.
Actually,
sorry.
You did just remind me. I do want to shout out, you all know VMXEO. VMXEO is the STARJUMP dude. He does a lot of work for JRDF as well. Does the ships, all the flight ready ships, which are kind of all the ships now for Fleet Viewer. Make sure you go over to VMXEO's coffee link, give him a donation if you want to support all the work he does. There would not be a Fleet Viewer without him. I did want to show off, since we're kind of talking ships, he is actively working on the new ships. They're taking time because there's a shit ton of IAE ships, so be patient, everyone. But he has been doing the work. The stuff looks great. I'll pop up real quick here. For example, the Clipper. This is going to be the Clipper that you'll see in IAE. We'll eventually going to do a landed version, by the way, because I know that's going to be the next question. But the Clipper's looking great. Other ships are looking great. He just gave me the Perseus and the L-22 Alpha. So he's chugging through them. I've had a few questions about when are the new ships coming to Fleet Viewer. They are in progress. VMXEO is one man, and he has to then send those ships to me. I have to get them conformed, integrated, do the metadata, and then I send them to Starlet for integration. So it's kind of a pipeline. So bear with us. But our good buddy VMXEO is actively working on them. And again, if you support what he does, and he does a lot, trust me, it's StarFab work. Continuous StarFab work is very difficult. Please go give him a donation, support him.
You told me that you used to do the concept ones, and he used to do the flight ready ones. So now everything's flight ready. You're the lazy bum, right? I get it now.
And here's the other thing too. Not only that, but back then it was less of he did all the flight readies and I did all the concepts, and more they were just kind of split down the middle. So there was still a lot of flight readies that I had done, but I was using the concept model and texturing them. So even when VMXCO is working on new ships like the Clipper and the Perseus and the this and that and the other, we're also slowly updating some of my old work. So for example, with the IAE update that we're going to push, we're going to switch out the art for the Zeus ES and the Zeus CL because VMXEO got to those and they look a hell of a lot better than the ones I did. So we're constantly like updating the artwork. So VM, if you're in chat, buddy, appreciate you.
Yeah, and also, you know, one ship a month now, so you're obviously doing it a lot more than, you know, a couple of years ago. So it's definitely picked up speed. One thing I've just remembered when we were talking about the funding tracker, the years aren't over yet either. We've got 4.5 with engineering coming, and that's going to be a massive patch.
Huge.
And more than likely, that ship is the Hermes, Polar Hermes. So potentially data running coming in there as well. I won't confirm that, but
yeah, and that will kind of segue to another question, which is actually, let me go back to my notes to keep going off of. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, it basically means because it's a really big patch, it probably means a lot more sales will convert over too, because like engineering going in is like for anyone that now it's on wave 1, I feel like I can talk about it a lot more, but you can see how much is going to change the game, can't you? Like before you got into Evo, I was telling you know, it was like, you just wait, bro, just wait. And now people are getting and seeing it from themselves. I'd almost kind of like to ask the audience, so to speak, you know, like now if you've had a chance to get in, let us know in a statement. So you can write at question or whatever, but just say this is a statement. Yeah, I'm really keen for engineering, and I'm hearing that a lot of people are like, yeah, this is just totally transforms the game, and you can start to see things like why the old flight model wouldn't work and all that type of thing. So it is a really good promising future.
Yeah, absolutely. That and you know, don't forget, and we're going to circle back to this when we talk about the Clipper specifically and even the Consolidated Outland Forge and stuff later in the show, but suddenly we're hearing about crafting ships. You know what I mean? CIG doesn't release ships without their gameplay, and the fact that the Clipper came out, you know, and it's got a crafting station on it, even though crafting's not in yet. They talked about the Forge, you know, even brought it up. I would suspect that crafting's not too far behind next year. You know what I mean? It's probably coming the first 6 months, so that's going to bring on a whole other wave of gameplay. So again, I think it's going to be a pretty big year for Star Citizen. Let's do a few more questions here, and then we'll move on. And this is the one I wanted to get to because we just posted the link to your video a minute ago. But Shimpasta says, how did you feel about the Warbond CCUs this year? I'll let you answer that one.
How do I feel about the Warbond CCUs? Well, they're better than Invictus.
Yeah,
Victus was shocking.
They're way better than Invictus.
I'm still not a fan of how they try to goat you into buying them. I just wish they did it all on one day because, like, I'm of the opinion you should just not buy them because, they're good if they're a one-off, right? And that is how they're meant to be, right? I know they're meant to be a one, but no veteran person is going to pick them up as a gamble because again, you're spending money. I know you can turn it back into credit, so a lot of people don't see it as a gamble. But let's be honest. Like if you look at the guide I did today, there was an Ares one there, and the Ares one would have been quite valuable. It landed right in this $50 range that nothing else was going to land on.
Thank you, Victor. I appreciate that, buddy.
Yeah, and there were other ones like the Andromeda that they chucked in there as well, which would have crossed over that in Ares one. So there's too many that cross over, too many that are gambling. I'd rather they just turn them all on, or turn them all off type of thing. It is such a confusing system.
It is
stuff like that. Just
I still don't really. I mean, I understand it, but I don't know how to game the system at all without a guide, like full on without a guide.
I've taught enough people now that I think I've pretty much been surpassed by Lemming and quite a few others, and it's really handy to have Lemming around when I'm this zoinked. And he turned up today, and there was only like two tiny little niggly things. Most of them were spelling mistakes that were that were in my my guide that I'd done when he turned up, and he was like, "Yeah, you've pretty much knocked the nail on the head. So I still was quite functional. It just takes me a lot longer when I'm this zoinked, and it's the most, as I said in the video, it is the most annoying thing to do when you've just got to the end. You're literally running on adrenaline and exhausted, and it's the most mentally taxing thing to do. And I can't imagine how stressful that would be for a new person that is trying to navigate the game. And you're dealing with, we're talking about up to thousands of dollars for these spaceships. So
Sure.
it's not a thing you should be taking lightly.
Yeah, and the savings are
should,
not insignificant. You really can work it
yeah,
to have a pretty significant chunk of money
yeah,
saved. I mean, enough money to buy another sizable ship if you if you so wanted,
yeah.
So yeah, it's
Well,
not a
again,
small thing.
on the Polaris, it was like $310 today, right? But then
Yeah.
again, if I chucked in the Ares one there and think about like the Ironclad, the Raelian, and the whole B, like you could really get your costs down. The secret is not just doing it in one sale, is it's trying to double up and do it over multiple sales,
Yeah.
and try and think of all the ships that you could possibly want. But not only that, this is something I would put to you, right? Because
Mhm.
it's a hard thing to say to the audience because not everyone thinks the same way you and I do. But you've kind of got to think of ships that are on the grid that they haven't created yet, right?
Right.
So one example, we know that the Starfarer is a gas collector, but it's the only gas collector in the game. So we know that you're going to get other gas collectors. So there's 3 others coming. So do I want the capital version of a Starfarer?
Mhm.
We know there's a refinery in the Expanse. Does that mean we want a capital refinery?
Right.
And that means they're on the grid, right?
Yeah.
So therefore, do I make 2 changes to ships that don't exist, not knowing what the prices are? Weirdos
Right.
like me have done that, but not everyone will do that. It's just the nature of the game. I just wish it was simplified.
Yeah.
And the last big, I really liked what they did with the skins this year and
Yeah.
kind of black market. And the other thing I said is now if we can just get market to give us LTI and everything, I think that would go a long way to simplifying a lot, removing a lot of FOMO.
Yeah.
I'd like,
personally still think every year that you're an active player, maybe you should get 1 LTI token or something. You know what I mean? I don't know how they would do it, but I still think that's something that they could easily exploit to be a benefit to people.
I don't know if I can do this, but I might put in another request to sit down with marketing. Every time I've done it previously, I've done it once per marketing person, and every time I've done it, they've declined. Because I just want to know how they think.
Yeah.
So I not to combat them or anything like that. I just want to know their choices. Like, and it's obvious you got to raise money, right? Like that it can't just. But like you don't. I don't want to. You know how there's a right way and a wrong way. Like when they did the bundling with the what was it, the bombs and the hammerhead and the Scorpius turret, the kits or whatever they're called.
The kits.
It was the bundling that killed it. And then this time around, 0 complaints when you sold the weapons for the wolf. No one cared because it was just what they wanted, not all the fluff and bullshit.
Victoria, thank you for those gifted subs, by the way, to Serious Fun. Serious, hope you're doing well, buddy. And to Execute. So who's a damn good community member. And Genitonic.
Yeah. What did you do?
You got a gifted sub from Victoria.
Oh, thanks. Cool. Appreciate it.
Felt like you deserved it.
Okay.
Is it fair that the Perseus, this is from Camaraderie, it says, is it fair that Perseus is 10 times lower HP than the Polaris, even in 4.5?
There are videos of one Perseus taking on Polaris and Idris and winning.
Yeah, and here's the other thing, too, about the ships. There's sort of 2 ways to think about ship strength and and stuff. One way, and probably the incorrect way, and unfortunately, maybe we'll have to see how armor plays into this with 4.5. But one way is to think of it as their role, right? The idea behind the Perseus is it was this brawler, right? It was supposed to get in there, take a beating, dish out a beating, all that. So you would think, oh, it's as strong as a Idris, because it's made to take a beating. But then there's the other probably more realistic way to look at it, which is these ships are defined by their components in many ways. Yep. Not completely. I know that armor is going to be a different factor to we have to think about now. But in general, it's come down to components. The Polaris uses capital components. You know what I mean? And the Perseus has non-capital components, and
Yep.
it just those have roll-on effects to a lot of things. Now, again, there's going to be a lot of factors that change this in the future, from Maelstrom to armor to many things. So I'm not saying this is the final way it's going to be. What I would say to you
Yeah.
is this, and I say this constantly. I actually just said this in our Discord earlier today.
Mm.
Do not put any stock into any of the numbers for any of these
Yep.
ships. Not their damage, not their performance metrics, nothing until 1.0.
So with us, Algrid's always been the stats guy, and I've always kind of not really paid super attention to it because they're just a number that can be changed.
Mhm.
But
And are changed
he will
frequently.
even agree with me now that they've just been changed so frequently
Yep.
that they are just where you're at now. And we've always tried to focus on what the game is going to be,
Yeah.
because that's where we know they're heading. And let's be honest, if you know it's in a stopgap situation, so like armor's just come in, like
Yep.
you mentioned, Maelstrom, that's a really good example that we know it's going to change again. So don't buy, like, how many people have you met that buy a ship based on the now and they nerf it or they change it,
Yep.
and they melt it? We get these people that
It's a gut punch. You know what I mean? You buy something, it's exciting for an afternoon, and then suddenly it feels like it's getting hammered into the ground. I get it.
Well, I heard people at AI at the event that were melting their Polaris to get a Perseus. I'm like, why are you jumping the gun?
Yeah.
Like in 6 months' time, something else will change and the Polaris will be back on top again. I was just like, and when you're dealing with such large numbers up there, you're going to lose all those CCUs you did, or you're never going to get that money back. So
yeah, it's
I've seen people do it already and they regret it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm telling you right now, all these numbers are make believe until 1.0, and even after 1.0, the numbers are still going to be changed constantly.
Yep.
It's a live service game. If you've ever played an MMO in your life, I always use World of Warcraft as a good example. But like, I played a druid forever. Every expansion that comes out, the entire class changes, and it changes for every class. Ships are going to be like that. They're going to change constantly. You know what I mean? And that's just going to be the way it is. You may not like it. You may want everything to kind of stay static, but it's just impossible. And again, we don't even we don't have primary systems still online. Like Armor's coming, but Maelstrom,
Using World of Warcraft, I think the first best tank was a warrior, and then when Burning Crusade came out, it went to, I think it was Paladin, and then when it went to Wrath of the Lich King, it went to Druid.
Right.
Like, so it kind of cycled through all the kind of tank classes, as an example, every time a major expansion came out.
And a lot of times,
and then. Yeah, go ahead.
A lot of times that was because, some new boss and some new expansion has some new ability that's perfect for the druid to deal with. Well, you can guess that in the future of Star Citizen, even when we're past 1.0, they've got to come up with new stuff. The game won't sit still. So they're going to come up with some new weapon type that suddenly can defeat capital shields really easily. And you must, you know what I mean? There's always going to be
It goes even further than that, man, because it could be in this particular system, this ship is the best, but in this system over here, this ship that just sits under the other ship here is the best.
Right.
So there is no perfect ship. That's the best part about this game, because in different situations is the best. Like when we sat there and looked at the drop ships with the military guys, there was not a single one that we couldn't look at, from the Cutlass, and yes, the Cutlass has drop seat features, right through to crazy things like the Starfarer, the Steel, all of them. They all had this unique place that they were the most valid in. And it might have only been 5 degrees or 6 degrees of separation between each one, but they all had a niche, and it's crazy to me that it worked.
I'm going to give a little shout out to Coffee Guru on Twitch. The moment Execute said there is no perfect ship, his chat message was, "Are they talking about the MSR?" So I don't know if it was meant to be that, but it was just perfectly timed. But real quick, another question. It says, we'll do another question, then we're going to move on here, and we'll get back to more questions later. Wing Zaber says, which manufacturer do you think the next versatile ship will be from?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Did they tell us? I thought they told us.
No, they didn't. They just said one was coming next year. That's all they said.
Coming. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
would you hope that it's larger?
Well, it kind of makes you wonder if the versatile is supposed to sit in the solo category.
Well, again, I would consider that the Clipper is solo medium, right?
Yeah.
But still
solo,
because it's versatile. Yeah, but because it's versatile, though, it's got to be roughly larger. So my thing is,
Oh,
like,
yeah,
if you go up to say 2 or 3 people, then it becomes a large, right?
sure.
So who are the manufacturers that don't have large ships? Who are the manufacturers they're working on? Well, RSI is kind of flooded then there. They got the Apollo and they got the Connie, so I think that kind of
Yeah,
rules that out.
yeah,
And if you start to look at the other ones there, like Drake, with the Corsair, the Mercury Star Runner, you can look through and you can start to rule ones out. And it does start to look at things like Kruger. You start to look at things like Consulted Outland. What ships are we knowing they're going to work on next year? And that doesn't necessarily mean, could it be Origin?
could.
Like they did
Yeah.
talk about an Orange ships. I think they're trolling us though with Origin. I think it's just a G12.
Yeah, I think it's a
Personally.
G12. I actually said that on my I said that on my last stream. I think it's a G12. I'll be honest with you. To me, the perfect manufacturer for the next versatile ship, just from a lore vibe standpoint, which I know does not really mean anything, to me, I think there needs to be a consolidated Outland versatile ship. Like they seem like the manufacturer that would make that. I could like see the ship commercial already. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, something out on the fringes that can take care of itself.
Yep.
Again, like when we talked about the Clipper, essentially is a mini Carrack in a lot of ways. Like it can it can take care of itself. So you just knock that up a size and you go to like a medium constructor, a medium medical area. So maybe it goes from a tier. Is it a tier 3? I'm pretty sure it's a tier 3 bed in the Clipper from memory. I
Yeah,
could
tier
be wrong,
3.
but you go up to a tier,
tier
you go up to tier 2 or something like that, or maybe it's 2 tier 3s or however they want to do it. And then you may get a console Outland. You and I have been saying if they're going to work on the Pioneer, then they probably need to do that. And again, if that's the large, and then there is a medium, but they also did talk about an orange salvager. What if it was salvaging?
Yeah.
Because again, look what they did with the Forge. It does fabrication, it does refining, and it does mining extraction. So does that mean this is a versatile, but it also can do salvage?
I think with the
Same.
I think with the Forge specifically, I think the reason they're not considering the Forge versatile is because of the size of its crafting machine. They're sort of considering it a crafting ship, right? Which I think you would agree.
I think you'd find something like the Forge will probably have a bigger one than say something that's a solo dedicated medium. Because remember, he said it's a jack of all trades, master of none. Where when you get something that's more dedicated, like a dedicated industrial, it might not be. If it was dedicated fabrication, you'd expect it to be maybe a large, right?
Yeah.
But if it's doing refining, fabrication, and extraction, then maybe it drops to a medium.
Yeah.
And it's a small refinery and it's a small extractor. You know what I mean? Because it's the more versatile you go, you've got to make consolidations.
And by the way, everyone, don't forget, if you want to get in on the Epoch Aves giveaway, if you're on YouTube, all you got to do is go to the link pinned to top of chat, leave a comment on that part 2 of my new player guide. Could be any comment, hi, hello, whatever. Leave a comment there. I'll pull one winner from there. That'll be a random comment pull. And then if you're on Twitch, just do exclamation ticket to get your ticket. And then I'll pull that winner. We're going to put you in the random wheel of names. We'll spin it. That's our winner for the Epoch Aves giveaway. And then obviously don't forget, we have the Perseus giveaway that we're giving away tonight. At the end of the show, we're giving away an RSI Perseus heavy gunship. Finally doing this giveaway. It's going to be a lot of fun. And here's something I want to go over. We're going to take a quick pause. We're going to go into something. If you are watching tonight, I know there's a lot of you in chat. We have quite a few people here. We have 257 on Twitch and 258. Those pretty even numbers on YouTube. If you're watching tonight, you're probably excited about this giveaway, but I have something to tell you that I think you'll all like. If you're watching tonight, you're automatically getting a double of entries. So in my next giveaway for next year for Invictus, everyone's going to get 5 entries like they do through Gleam all the time. Just like you do through Perseus, there's a way to get 5 entries, right? Well, if you're watching tonight, all you got to do is be watching for at least 30 minutes, and you're automatically going to get 5 entries for the next giveaway. And I was going to go ahead and reveal what the next giveaway is. I don't know if anyone knows what it is.
It's an Atlas.
Does anyone know what it is?
Looks like a jump from...
Does anyone know what the next giveaway is?
A Bengal? A battle cruiser?
I don't know. Does anyone know? Does anyone want to know what the next giveaway is?
What is that?
I'm going to reveal it.
A javelin? Is it a javelin?
Ooh, wouldn't that be
I
cool?
feel like I'm drunk.
Wouldn't that be cool, javelin?
Looks.
But don't forget, I know Photoshop. So
Yeah,
could be some
image.
image manipulation here.
That doesn't look right, bro. What have you done?
All right, for those of you
Yeah,
that are
wait,
watching
wait.
tonight, and if you've been watching for 30 minutes, that's all you need to do. I have a third-party app that's tracking who's all in chat, so it's counted you if you've been here for 30 minutes.
Odyssey.
The next giveaway
Yeah.
for Invictus, this will start around February, March. I'll start the giveaway, but you automatically get the points because I've already added it on the back end, or I will after this stream ends. The next giveaway is the Drake Ironclad. I just messed with the image.
Hey,
sorry.
that's not the same silhouette. You son of a bitch. That's not the same.
I was pulling a CIG on everybody.
Front to fat. Yeah, man. I'm like, oh, what chip is that? That's not. I don't know that silhouette. I feel drunk.
Yeah, I had to mess with
Can't
everyone.
do that to me when I'm this tired, bro. That was.
Yes, yeah. So again, you're watching tonight. You don't have to do anything for it tonight. There's not a Gleam link for it. I have it set up, but I haven't turned it on yet. I'm going to turn it on early next year. But those of you watching tonight will already get double, 50% more entries than everyone else. They automatically get added by this third-party app. So you just by being here, you get double the entries for this ship. So you get 100% more chance of winning this. So we'll do this at DefenseCon because I'm pretty sure this ship is dropping at DefenseCon. So there, I trolled everyone for the night.
You could have made it if they enter the draw, they get an Ironclad, but if they watch, they get an Ironclad Assault.
Look at that though. It's a pretty nice. It's a pretty nice jump.
No, it's not. It was heart pumping, stressful. I've aged horribly. Son of a bitch.
Oh,
you're going. Am I getting cynical?
Well, I was able to work some magic. And yeah, we're going to give away an Ironclad next year, so I'm excited about that. But right now, tonight, it's the Perseus, so make sure you get in on that. All right, I want to move us along. Got some other stuff I want to talk about. So the next thing, we'll get back to the questions, everybody. But the next thing I wanted to talk about was I wanted to have a quick discussion on concepts versus no concepts, which has been my favorite discussion point of this year. We talked about it a little bit with the funding thing, with the funding discussion at the beginning of the show. But I would ask you first. I have my own opinions on this. I think you know some of them. But what is your thoughts on the no more concepts thing?
We've actually got an idea for an episode me and Paul came up with, so I am going to go into this in a lot more detail.
Yeah, no worries.
But there are
we don't have to deep dive it, but yeah,
I'm not going to deep dive it. Is what I'm trying to say. So, but I think there's some massive reasons why they've done that. And I think it removes a lot of the complexity for them. You know, they like think about things they talked about, like, oh, we had to go back and look up all these skins for the Aurora.
Yeah,
all the shit they'd forgotten, they had to track and all that stuff.
I didn't know there was Aurora skins that they hadn't done yet, so that was even a surprise.
I could open my hanger and show you. I've got like 5 of them, and they're super rare.
Concept skins.
Come next year. They'll be $5 or $10 or whatever it'll be, and you better buy them. But I'm sure there's going to be 1 or 2 in there that are actually pretty rare. But again, there was a skin called the really rare one that I know a lot of people want was called it was called "Shut Up and Take My Money." I think that's what it was called.
I've actually heard of that one.
Yeah, it was an electro hull skin where you can change between 2 different skins on the fly. It's really good for smuggling. I think that'll be eventually available in game like everything else.
Yeah,
I've been saying that since the beginning, because back at Kickstarter it said there will be no exclusives. And it's
you
got to take them at their word. And again, there are legalities there. You can't just say there will be no exclusives and then all of a sudden start selling exclusives. And there are now some exclusives, but they were given away and they're not as good as the real thing. And so the example I would give is the very first one was the Banu Cube replica. But that means there'll be a real Banu Cube in game that is actually like a puzzle box that you can open. The other one's just a box that does nothing. It just shows that you've got it, and then cool, you got this rare thing that's a box.
I mean, yeah, it's, you know, it's tricky because here's how, and I have been thinking about this a little bit, and I know you know all this, but I'll because I've talked to you about it, but I'll kind of reiterate it for chat. I do not like, by the way, everyone, so chat knows I'm not defending them, but I do not like the endless concept period. Like, I don't want ships to be in concept for
Mhm.
7 years. I hate that. Don't like it. I think it's disingenuous to the people that have spent money on it. However, I would be okay with concept periods where they concept sail the ship and then it goes into production. And good examples of
Like
that were the Spirit, the Zeus,
Paladin.
the Paladin, ships that
Yep.
were revealed, concept pledged, and then there was a year
Yep.
of development and then they released. And the reason I'm okay with that personally is as I feel like it does allow some community dialogue to go on about the ship that
Yep.
maybe CIG
Agreed.
can listen to. I don't think
Yep.
they always listen to it.
I think that's the biggest danger because and I know I'm channeling my little inner ender here, for example, is when the Polaris came out, he talked a lot about the signage and stuff, and then basically like a year later they've heard all that shit, and they've heard it from multiple people, and they come around to the Perseus and they just put signs everywhere, and it is noticeably 100 times better.
Yeah. Well,
and so he learned stuff there. You could tell when Ben was talking, he learned a heap of shit, didn't he?
And I would and based off that, I would even go further where I actually wish ships would be in PTU or Evocati, whatever they want to call it. I wish they would be in testing for longer so that actual feedback can be given on a ship so that when it does come out, it's the best it can be. Now, I realize to some degree that's probably an impossible ask because things like the signage on the Polaris would have been called out immediately because I remember within days of the ship being out, the first things I heard were that, man, the medical area does not have enough signage or lighting. Like, it was like the number one thing people said. It would have been a quick thing. You know what I mean?
I know they're learning, and I know Ben said himself, he said they are developers, not ship
they
people.
are, and that's a great
But
point,
I would hope now that they've gone to concept, no concepts, they actually get some advisors. They get some people in that they can run that ship past. So if it's a medical ship, they run it past a medical person. If they, and there are plenty of people in the community that would do that for free. And just put them under an NDA and pay them a little bit,
And as much as people are concerned, because I've heard this a lot on my streams, as much as people are concerned about the kits, the manufacturer kits, I actually think the manufacturer kits will go a long way into solving this problem. And what I mean by this is if CIG builds out a really nice RSI medical suite kit, then that means any ship after that is going to have like a nice medical room and you won't have to worry about one just suddenly having a shitty one. You know what I mean?
They said as much on that ISC that the Zeus and the Polaris really sped up the Perseus. So as that matures,
which is
I have to assume when they get round to do the Arasta and the Lion and some other industrial RSI ships that it'll lean over into them as well.
Or another example, or another example, we know that, or at least we think the Kraken is still in some level of production. You can guarantee that a lot of ironclad work's going to come over, but even look at the Clipper. We know the Kraken's supposed to get some sort of medical suite, some sort of medical suite. Well, I guarantee you the Clipper was the test bed for that, what the Drake medical look is, and you'll just see that expanded upon. So all that will sort of filter into those bigger ships.
I can tell you now, Ben, me and Grim both want that red floor. But just to really go that extra mile, I want to see plastic curtains with blood on them in between the beds on the Kraken. I think it would just really take it up a gross notch.
It really would.
And maybe even some hooks with some slabs of meat on them. Just to really give you that I'm at home in a butcher's vibe.
Yeah, and those clear, heavy plastic sheets that hang that you walk through. Yeah.
And then some kind of air conditioner with like streamers on it, and and they're blowing in the wind, and the blood's dripping off. That'd be great. Just the fine details that make it.
Well, so that takes us into one other thing I want to talk about in relation to the concept, no concept thing. It's something we talked about a lot. And I think overall, real quick, probably by a huge margin, 90% probably, most players want no concept ships. They want straight to flyable, type thing. And I get that. I totally understand that.
I remember that before, and then I forgot it. But that's also like how many years we've been hearing that in the press, so to speak. People going, "Oh, you're buying JPEGs." Well, there's no more buying JPEGs.
Right.
It all goes out the window. And so, moving into that era where we're going into 1.0 and Squadron, all that negativity kind of goes away, you know. And I think that's probably the main reason this is happening. But I think there are other massive benefits to it.
There's going to be negatives to this.
Yeah.
The biggest one being there's going to be no more concept prices. We're going to be paying flight ready prices from here on out, just across the board. You know,
ouch.
Yeah, which sucks.
Now those 6 CCU chains that I built out doesn't sound so crazy, does it?
Yeah.
All of a sudden.
Exactly. And so that leads us to the last concept ship, supposedly, that we're going to get, which is this battle cruiser, which we've now learned will be unveiled at Invictus next year. And
highly expected. I would also take that with a train of trolley salt, knowing that they told me in our grid it wasn't Drake.
Okay.
And they let us run on that for an entire year. They would have been belly laughing every time we talked about it.
Do you think they were just like in their offices?
No, I found out later. They told us it was all a setup. They knew we were coming to CitizenCon. It was all a setup. The whole thing was a setup. And I'm like, you sods of bitches.
And by the way, thank you everyone for hanging out in chat tonight. I see some people saying hello. Nice to see you all. We got 270 on YouTube and 315 on Twitch. Nice to see everybody. Let's talk about the battle cruiser though. I haven't talked to you, Execute, since they said that it will likely be unveiled at Invictus. That's sooner than I thought.
How healthy are you, Grim?
I am semi-healthy.
This is totally coincidental. Just around Invictus, maybe April next year, I'm gonna need a liver, right? So just if I can, you know, I'm your close friend, so if you can give me one, I would appreciate it.
Let's theory craft a little bit, because I conversations on the battle cruiser are really popular. But I'm gonna go ahead.
Yes, and you didn't say no. Do you notice that?
It's not denial. It's not denial. We'll see. You never know. I may be willing to part with things for the right amount of money. But here's what I will say. Here's my prediction on the battle cruiser for everyone out there. Okay, I think it's going to be around 600 some odd meters long. Okay, 600 to 700 meters long is my current prediction. Okay, and I'm basing that on just a few things, but 600 to 700 meters long. I do think it's going to be Anvil. I do think it's but here's the thing. I do think it'll be Anvil. It makes more sense for it to be RSI because they have way more kit for it, but I do think it's going to be Anvil. Yeah. I also think it's going to have some carrier capacity or carrier aspect to it. I don't think it's going to be like a full-on carrier like the Bengal, but I think it's going to have the ability to carry some ships for sure, because that's just a big selling point for big ships.
Do you think it'll be anything like the Pegasus at all, or do you think they'll...
I'm thinking something like a scaled down Pegasus. Yeah, I think the Pegasus was like 900 meters long. I'm thinking a little smaller than that personally. I'm thinking they've got a huge ship gap from 480 meters on the Javelin to 900 some odd on the Bengal and stuff. There's a pretty big gap there. It just seems logical that they would want to hit the middle of that and fill that. So I don't know.
It's kind of interesting when you think about it too, because they kind of have to do an Invictus. You've kind of got to do it in Invictus, because if you don't do it in Invictus, then Squadron comes out. It's the last chance to really do one before the normies arrive. You know what I mean?
But here's the big sticker before I ask you your opinion on the battle cruiser. The question is, and I got hit with this question earlier yesterday, was someone asked me why. Why are they doing this? They know it's like a promise thing from the Kickstarter, but why now, when you're relaunching Squadron, do you release another controversial concept ship? And here's my speculation on that. And Execute, I think this is probably what you're thinking, because we say this a lot. I guarantee you this ship has a big part to play in Squadron Part 2, whatever that is. Chapter 2. And it's already going to go into production. Would you agree?
Same thing with the Kraken.
Yeah.
Any ship that's kind of coming, it's either really fun, like the Pioneer's like super fundamental for Star Citizen, obviously with base building, but the Kraken's definitely got something to do with Episode 2. I'd agree with you on that as this. But My biggest pet peeve, and it's one of our grids as well, is that they promised that the Javelin would be the biggest ship you could ever purchase. Well, that is now broken. But then again, they lied about the F7A, they lied about the F8, so they've broken so many promises now. It's not funny.
Including the Bengal. They
list.
said originally the Bengal
Yep.
would have to be something you find in the verse. Well, now we're going to be able to craft it,
Yep.
right?
Yeah. So a lot of them has changed, and that's okay. But by the same token, everyone that owns a Javelin would be a prime contender to buy this thing. So you're pissing them all off by bringing it out. And but I think you're right. It has to be different from the Javelin. And one of the reasons is because the Javelin's essentially a destroyer. So how else do you do that? Well, you look at the Bengal, and that's a carrier, but it's like a full-on carrier.
Yeah.
Do you do something that's like half destroyer, half carrier? So it's like a mini carrier. So maybe it's like you put a Javelin and an Idris together.
Yeah.
Right. And do you make it so that instead of having like a big railgun on the front, what if it's like, you know how the Bengal's got the big guns below? What if it's like there's a massive railgun on each turret on each side or something like that, right? So you obviously you don't want to have two firing at the same time, but if you can have one on each side, then you're covered, are you not? So
yeah. I think it just comes down with the whole carrier aspect. To me, is it comes down to this idea that there's certain things people sort of want their big ships to do, and carry other ships is one of them. And so it just makes sense that, it'd be something that can do a little bit of that. They're going to put big guns on it because it's literally called a battle cruiser. So it's going to have some offensive capability, I think. They said something regarding it being, having some special elements to it. Obviously, we'll have to wait to see what that is. I think the two big questions from everyone, though, seem to be what's going to be its price, and is it going to be limited? It's definitely going to be limited. It's going to be a whole limited ship, 100%.
Yeah, I 100% agree on that.
Yeah,
one.
100% going to be a whole limited ship. Price? I think it's going to be 4,000.
That's a tough one. That's a tough one. If they sell it as a blueprint, they don't break their promise, and then they could probably get away with 2,500. But I honestly think they're going to sell it outright.
I do too.
And I think it's $5,000.
$5,000. I can see that. I can see that.
You take a Javelin that's $3,000. This thing, like you're the one that made the poster, man. Bring up the poster with the retribution on it.
Yep. Let me pull that up.
And when you start to look at the size of these things, this thing is close to double, or at least, as Grim said, half as big again. If you've got $3,000 for one and it's half as big again, you do the math. That sounds like $5,000 to me.
Stand by.
So yeah.
Yeah, it's I mean, there's, why is this poster taking a minute to load? Let me switch over. Yeah, I mean, you can see here, well, that's the retribution. We can look at this one too. But even here, the Javelin being 480 meters at $3,000, let's say it does go up by a third to something like 600 to 700 meters, smaller than a Bengal, but bigger than a Javelin. Yeah, I would think $4,000 to $5,000 makes sense. And here's the thing: I know sometimes there's some people that be like, "Oh, they're never going to price a ship that much." They've got packs for $48,000. I mean, CIG does not. I don't think they're adverse to making a ship $5,000. I don't think they care.
I've already talked to some wows, and they said they're going to buy it, and they own Javelins. So
Yeah. So that leads to my last question about the battlecruiser before we move on, which is, how should they sell it? Do you think this should just be the standard F5 war, or do you think they should do something different here?
I think the best sale they ever did with a big ship was the Kraken.
Yeah,
where they took expressions of interest, and then they did waves, and then those people that passed on it got passed down to other waves and stuff like that. So it's still limited, but they took expressions of interest. In fact, I would be honest, the only reason they probably never do that again, it was too much work to work it out. But if they had an automated system for that, I would have done that for all limited ships going forward. It'd be really nice to see them details.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd agree. Real quick here, we're going to go to another question here. I'm going to go ahead and pull something up real quick, though. I'm going to hit a few more questions. Next question is, Ramateo says, of the mysterious silhouette ships, what remains to be revealed? And it's the only one we got left to reveal is this one, which we know what it is now, but we haven't seen it yet. The other ships on the silhouette, the Pioneer, the Ironclad, the Flappy Bird, we've all seen. They did say that. Well, actually, no, that's not true. I'm sorry, that's not true.
It was 3 that they gave, yeah.
The Anvil, which we know is a generalist ground vehicle, a versatile ground vehicle. It's going to have medical, going to have some crafting.
They said clipper but on the ground, didn't they?
Yeah, essentially. We have this, which everyone thought was the MDC, but they confirmed is the MFC, the mobile fabrication platform vehicle, whatever they call this. So those are the 3 that I guess you qualify as yet to be revealed, but we do have information on them. They're not completely unknown. We really just haven't seen the exterior. So those are the 3, with probably the Consolidated Outland ship being, I think, the most interesting of those. Well, yeah, I would say that. Get Squirrely says, what do you think about the Consolidated Outlands Forge? Okay, will look like. Do you think it's the flat silhouette ship from 2000 or from 2024?
They confirmed.
They confirmed
that.
Yeah.
They literally went through and said, these are the ships that are missing, and these are what they're called, and this is who they're made by, and this is what they do.
Yeah, right, exactly. Also, Art is in chat. Art, hello. Thanks for coming by.
Okay.
Hi.
Hello.
Oh, how you doing?
Hope you're doing.
I'm okay.
Good.
I'm falling apart, but I'm holding it together. With
falling apart, but you're holding together. That's spoken like a true Star Citizen player.
Welcome to the club.
Shimpasta says, question, there's a debate if the Pioneer will get above $1,000. Do you feel CIG may deliberately make the Pioneer price go to $1,000 so that it becomes account bound? It's definitely going over $1,000.
I'm counting on it. I think the reason why it was always limited was it was planned to go over $1,000. So even when it was $850, I think that was the plan.
Yep.
And it never made sense to me. Why is that limited? But the Polaris wasn't, etc., etc. And now it makes sense. It was always planned to go over $1,000.
I'm going to make a speculation here that I'm sure if John Crew ever sees this, he would just slowly shake his head no to. But I don't think they thought the Pioneer would go into production as soon as it has. I think base building just became a new priority for Star Citizen a few years back. And
no, I think it was the planning at that start of the year.
Okay.
Because the things they talked about that they were talking about total things that I can't say things, but they were talking about things that they thought were going to happen next year, and none of them came to pass.
Right.
Because that's what it was that planning at the start of the year that dictates almost everything that they do in the year.
Right.
So yeah.
And remember what John Crew has said. Him and Ben, for example, they're not like the sole deciders of which ships go into production. There's gameplay people. Hell, Chris could just get an itch in his side one day that he wants to see XYZ ship go into production, and it will. So they're not the sole deciders. They have a big role to play in that, obviously, but not the sole. Eagle0013, thank you for the 100 bits. Appreciate that, Eagle. You're amazing. Got 340 in Twitch chat tonight and 280 in YouTube chat. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out. We got another question here. This is Citizen Ninja says, which ship do you think we might see this month with Luminalia? Another variant or an all-new ship?
Apollo Hermes.
I want to ask you this. Why do you think the Hermes is the December ship?
It's in the files.
Yeah.
Everything else was in the files.
It is in the files. By the way, I don't know if he's still in chat, so I don't want to say anything wrong and get it completely wrong. But there is a Drake ship in the files, or the name of a Drake ship in the files, that's been in the files since 2016 or 17 that's never come out. I forget what the name of it is. Let me see if I can find it real quick here. Let's see if we can find it.
It makes a lot of sense that the Apollo was worked on in September though as well. So or came out in September.
Yeah.
So doing another one kind of makes sense. They not too far apart.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm looking here. I don't see if yeah, go ahead.
Before you continue, I went and asked Grok. I basically said, if Anvil Aerospace Battlecruiser existed in Star Citizen, what would a fitting name be? And then it came back with Centurion, and I said that name's already taken. And then it came back with Praetor, which is like a Praetorian,
Mhm.
you know, like a Praetorian
Mhm.
guard. It came back with Tribune, Legate, all these Roman names, which is very similar to things like the Centurion, the Spartan, the Gladiator, sorry, and things like that. So it's reckoning it might be a Roman name. And
Okay.
Praetor, I think it's called Praetor or Predator, something like that. A Praetor. I could kind of see that one actually.
Praetor.
I can't say it. Does not roll off my Australian tongue. Sorry.
By the way, with CIG's overlapping naming conventions, we're bound to get a ship at some point called the Legatus and the Praetorian. At some point, that will happen. Yes, real
Would
quick.
not be surprised if it was called the Centurion.
I have that information now. Hopefully, he doesn't mind me saying this, but there has been a reference in the files for a Drake ship called the Tirame for years, almost 8 years or so.
I reckon that's an acronym of some sort.
Could be, and it
Tirame?
says an ancient Greek. I looked it up. An ancient Greek or Roman war galley with 3 banks of oars.
Does that sound?
I'll send you the name. Execute so you can look it up.
But does that sound like a Drake ship to you or an Anvil ship based on the Roman stuff I just talked about?
Yeah. But essentially, all I'm saying for that is that sometimes things do pop up in the names. I will say, if that is here's the thing I will say about that. If that is the December ship, they're ending December with a bang, because that's going to be a popular ship. But even more so than that, it's a pretty big ship. It's a 60-meter long ship that they're releasing in the last month of the year.
Didn't they also find something in the files about the lighting for the Hermes as well, though?
They did.
The interior lighting or something like that. So it kind of shows
and
that
a hard point.
Stuff there.
Yeah, and a hard
and
point.
A hard point and all this other stuff.
To be fair,
more evidence.
There is more evidence to it being a real thing. I'm just simply highlighting that, don't everyone melt a ship in reference.
You were playing devil's advocate. I know what you're doing.
So
you're trying to piss me off in my tired state. I know what you're trying to do. Right.
The chat's saying it's a trieme.
Trieme. Okay, trieme. I said that wrong. I was going to say it wrong because I can't pronounce anything correctly.
How do you spell it?
I DM'd it to you.
Okay, cool. I'm going to Google that.
But either way, what I'm saying is that just everyone, we'll see what comes. But if the Hermes is in fact coming and it is an Apollo hull variant, that's pretty wild, because that's going to be a 60-meter, ship coming out in the last month of the year, which doesn't happen very often. That's pretty cool. I mean, again, it'll sell well, and then we're guaranteed to have 2020. I mean, we already are there, but 2025 is going to be just a gangbusters year. So, yeah. Anyways, that name has been in the game files for a long time, apparently, just as a reference. But it may be gone now, but it's been there. And there's probably a lot of other stuff that's hidden. So
I reckon that was a placeholder name, and it became another ship that's already in the game,
Very
based
possible.
on how long that, like, it could have been the cutter, for example.
Could have been.
I'm just chucking them out.
Yeah, absolutely could have been. Couple more questions here, then we'll move on to the next topic. It says, do you believe we'll ever get that gray, white, and black almost naval camo for the Perseus, since it was limited to the original Perseus backers? It's out.
There is.
He's talking about the Thundercloud.
No. I think he means for other people to buy.
Oh, sorry. Yes. The non-concept people, yeah.
Again, like I said, nothing in the game is exclusive. It's just exclusive for a time. So eventually you'll be able to get that in game. It'll probably be behind some kind of rep wall that you've got to grind. But again, like I said about those best in show skins for years, they always kept, like, my knowledge was always never going to be exclusive.
I have a theory with the limited concept paints. I think, CIG's talked a little bit about who we're going to be able to raise rep with, Kovalex and the guilds and all that. I actually also think you're going to be able to raise rep with the actual ship manufacturers in different ways. And I have a feeling that, like, when you get to certain status with them, you're going to be able to buy those concept paints. I could be wrong.
They gave the example of, like, the different food families all having their own unique skin for ships and stuff like that. So what's to say you don't have to, if you want to get just take the Perseus as an example, right? So you go up RSI and you get some cool skins from RSI, like the concierge skins or something like that.
Yeah.
You go up the military, like the UAE, and maybe they gave you the Thundercloud paint and stuff like that. It really, you know. And the other thing I'll say is I can't remember the exact number. It was like 4 or 5 other skins that were in the files that didn't come to the store. So I think there's either an event coming, or there is a because they talked about, you know, the big combat fights.
Yeah.
What was it called? Strike teams or something like that.
The tactical fleet operations or strikes or whatever. Yeah.
So they could be a part of that, or maybe it's all the way to next Invictus or whatever. But there's a bunch more skins there ready to go. If you go look at leaks, they're around.
Yeah.
Unless you want to show some Grim, it's up to you.
Real quick though, I do like to call. We're getting a lot of follows. Thank you, everyone. I know everyone's probably hitting follow because you either like the content or you're trying to get on those giveaways, which is all good either way. But I did like to call out the subscriptions, and for some reason I missed a bunch of these. Sorry about that, but I did want to call out a few that I see here. Mayo, Mikeo, Sundowner. Who else we got? We got Xenogears. Thank you for your subscription. Again, I do like to call these out. Is that it? No, we had a couple. We had one more. Where was it? Vermilion Air. Thank you for that subscription. Angelus Nex, Clockworks. Whole bunch of people. I don't know how I missed all these. It's Gun Turn. Thank you for the subscription. Quasi83. Blue Jester. Who else we got? Vert XD. Thank you very much. Jay Billingham subscribed for 1 month at tier 1. Thank you very much, everybody, for the support. I do appreciate it. Splaticus, which is a great name, just subscribe for 1 month. Appreciate that. Couple more questions here. Let's get to it. The Texan Zillan says, do you believe we'll ever be able to get that gray? Okay, no, we answered that one. Sorry. Garflog says, question, how can I get in on the Perseus giveaway? Very easy. All you got to do is go to the Gleam link, which we can post in chat. Art, I don't know if you're able to do that, or I can.
There was a really good opportunity for a joke there. Post your liver to...
Yes.
Yep. I got the link.
Yeah. Thanks, buddy.
I'm grabbing it now. Yep.
All right, here's a question. While I get ready for the, we're going to do the, by the way, everybody, we're going to do that APOC Aves giveaway here in just a second. Okay, if you want to get in on that, link pinned to the top of chat of YouTube. I'm tired.
And to get entered into that one, you got to say it 5 times fast.
Yes. Link, just go to that link pinned to the top of chat if you're on YouTube. As the part 2 of my new player guide, just leave a comment on that video. We'll pull one random winner from there. If you're on Twitch, it's exclamation ticket. We'll pull the winner from there. We're going to put you in the random wheel names. We're going to do that in just a second. While I'm getting that set up, execute. I got a question for you. This is from your good buddy Gin and Tonic, our good buddy Gin and Tonic. He asks, with GTA 6 now releasing in November of 2026, what do you figure the release date for Squadron 42 is?
Yeah, that's a tough one. Technically, they can still release it in October, and it is late November, so that would give them like a month and a half exclusivity. And you got to remember, it is technically a single-player game. I think that is enough time. Personally, I really do.
I do too.
And I think I think you would agree. GTA doesn't also exactly translate, and this goes both ways, to someone that likes a sci-fi single player story driven game. It's like I'm gonna be honest, like I didn't mind Grand Theft Auto when I was younger, but I'm gonna be honest, I have no interest in this new one. It's played out. Like that sandbox thing was great, 10 years ago when you had Grand Theft Auto 5 and 4, right? But like this one is just, and the way their transactions have gone online with all the multiplayer stuff, like I've got no interest in the multiplayer. I want the story, and I want that kind of set. And my favorite fun thing to do, not about you, was I just like to get in the cars and call 5 stars and see how long I could last. That was my favorite thing to do. Just cause chaos and then die and then do it all again.
And here's the other thing to think. There's 2 issues with the GTA 6 thing. There's what you're talking about for sure, which is that kind of, is it the same players? And I fully agree with you. I don't think there is obviously crossovers with games, of course, but I don't think a player playing GTA 6 is just going to completely not play Star Citizen, or that there are sometimes players that just exist solely in those pockets and don't, and the other game releasing doesn't affect them. But I think the bigger issue is that GTA 6 marketing machine sucking all the air out of the room, just in terms of like your attention. That's probably the bigger concern when it comes to GTA 6.
That is a part of it, but
and it'll
I
be
think
console
the
only.
other. I think most people can afford to buy both. Not everyone, obviously, but I think a lot of people look at it this way. If you're really waiting for GTA 6 and a game drops that everyone's saying is amazing and you've got a month and a half to wait, what better way to burn time than to play to play Squadron 42? So there's no. I can see why everyone gets scared. Like dropping it on the same day would be, or 2 days before.
Oh, that'd be insane.
Be suicide.
Yeah, that'd be insane.
But a month and a half. Okay, I'm just going to put this back to you, and Art, you can weigh on this as well. How many times do you guys get paid in a month and a half? Like, not how much you get paid, how many times you get paid. Is it every fortnight? Is it like once a month? Do you know what I mean? Like most people get paid every week.
I get every 2 weeks. So I get, that's 3 paychecks for me.
Three paychecks for you. And I know, and again, if you're doing it every week, that's 6.
Yeah.
You know, Art, what about you, man?
Yeah, about every 2 weeks. Yeah, every 2 weeks.
So you would have $100 lying around, or what is it, $70? I think is the going rate for those games at the moment.
I'd have to check my allowance that my wife gives me.
Yeah, and look, here's the thing.
What a cock. Anyway, right.
And here's the thing. I mean, people buy what they want. I mean, we talked about the gray market earlier. People are going to buy what they want. Heavy Metal Texan, thank you for that subscription. Appreciate that. Real quick here, let's swing over because I am ready. We're going to swing over to our 2-window view here. For those of you on YouTube, we're going to pick the winner off of YouTube. This is for the new player guide, part 2. You were leaving comments on there. By the way, everyone, please share the new player guide that I made with any new people coming into Star Citizen. I do appreciate it.
And I also wouldn't rule out another delay, by the way.
Yeah.
It's been delayed twice already.
It could easily happen. Eat both games, by the way.
Yeah.
Both games.
And the other thing, well, I don't think Squadron will be.
I don't think either, but
from everything I'm hearing.
It could be.
But GTA is one of those games that they don't want to stuff up, and they'll happily delay it 6 months because they know that if they don't, they're leaving money on the table.
Yeah.
You know, the other part of this I want to put in as well is, and this goes both ways as well. Squadron is a PC game, and Grand Theft Auto is a console game.
Yeah.
So there is a massive distinction between the two there. So there isn't the overlap that a lot of people think there is. Yeah. If I have a PC, I can't yet go buy Grand Theft Auto 6. That's 2 years away. Right. So the crossover you guys are thinking of, if you start to think of it as in a console versus PC, it just isn't there. Because again, the people that have a PC and a console, they've clearly got money. So they can clearly afford to buy both, and it's not a problem.
Yeah. We're going to go ahead and do this real quick. Everyone, I've got the after date set for today, 6 p.m., which is when the stream started. Thank you for leaving your comments. I'm going to go ahead and pick the random YouTube comment. Good luck, everyone. In 3, 2, 1. Please share the new player guide with your friends. Appreciate that. All right. Raygun972 says, hell yeah, Cutter for life. I agree, actually. The Cutter is an amazing ship. We're going to put you in the random wheel of names. There you go. Next, we're swinging over the stream elements where we have 2,029 tickets purchased. That's pretty amazing. That's kind of crazy. All right, here we go, everyone. We're going to close the giveaway and draw a winner.
But people can have multiples though, can't they?
Yep, they can.
So divide that by 10. It's only 200.
No, there's 287 entrants, 2,029 tickets purchased. So good luck, everybody. Here we go. We're closing the giveaway. Get it in now if you want. Exclamation ticket. Closing it
10 seconds.
In 10 seconds. 9.
They're still coming in. Look at them.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3.
Wait. Do you know how to count from 3, 2? Do you know how to count from Say, I'm giving you extra time, guys.
There you go. He just delayed it for you.
I thought execute just seized up a little bit. And I was
Here's the
gonna have
thing.
to
No,
see.
no, it was deliberate. It was deliberate. It was
Here's the thing.
deliberate.
Here's the thing. I was going to do a stream racers, but on our last stream, we hit the 200 racer cap in stream racers. People were trying to join, and it was already closed. So here we go, everyone. Closing the giveaway right now, and it is closed. Well, the website's not responding. Okay,
so
it's
you
closed
can't go
now.
over 200.
Apparently not.
200
Apparently
or
not. Yeah,
oh
apparently
wow,
not.
that's
It
crazy.
capped out. Yeah. All right, everybody, drawing a winner.
Play the marble one. That's only spheres.
Yeah, I saw Yo-Yo Meg doing that one. I'm going to start trying that one out. Here we go, everybody. 316 entrants, 2,160 tickets.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
20 odd people or more that joined.
Here we go, drawing a winner now. Good luck, everybody.
Good luck,
I
everyone.
gotta scroll all the way down. All right, Spike 6K is the winner. Spike 6K.
Hey, I know that name.
All right, there you go. Cool.
Good job,
I did see him put. Okay, so I'm going to take these. I'm going to paste them in chat. Make the wheel a little bit more interesting here.
Right. I got a favor to ask.
Yes.
After you've done all that, wait, do it one more time. Now, right at the bottom.
Yeah.
Put execute, and then I get to pick it if it comes up.
That's against the giveaway rules. Execute.
That is hilarious. No, but that's hilarious because what's the chance? It's like 1 in 200.
But it wouldn't be fair. You have
gonna come up. No, I just get to pick the person. I'm not gonna keep it. I'm just gonna pick the person.
But you have
that wins.
someone you know in the winners list, so we can't do it.
No, we do it all again. But I just went it for the lols. I went it for the lols. I went it for the lols.
We'll do it. We'll do it after the official one. We're going to do it after the official one.
No.
By the way, we're killing it on numbers tonight, everyone. 375 on Twitch with no rage and 293 on YouTube. Here we go. Spinning in 3, 2, 1. Good luck.
Good luck, everyone.
This is for the APOC Aves download patch bundle. I will send it after the stream, by the way.
Raygun.
It's Raygun972. Raygun972. If you're in chat, be
That's
advised you have to contact me via Discord. You have 2 days to contact me via Discord. If you do not contact me via Discord in 2 days, I will be handing it to Spike 6K. It always goes to the runner-up if the main person does not reach out to me in 2 days. I want to make that very clear because I had a little bit of an issue with that recently on the giveaway.
Raygun is in chat.
There's Raygun. Yep. Okay. Raygun. Yep. Contact me through Discord, STARJUMP_Grim, and we'll get you worked out. Probably send it to you after this stream sometime. But congratulations. Let me screenshot that as I always do. Congratulations. Awesome. We'll be doing that giveaway very shortly. You can go ahead and close that. Again, that's for the APOC Aves. Thanks. So very, very good. Everybody, the next giveaway we'll be doing will be for the Perseus in just a short bit. We're going to get into a little bit more discussion now. Okay, here we go. Okay, next thing I wanted to talk about. Let's hit a few more questions. Citizen Ninja says, do you think the Hull A's price will increase from $90 to $100 or $110, assuming it must be lower than the 125C1? Asking because of today's Nova War Bond CCU. That's a lot of information, Citizen Ninja.
I think it's got to go to like 100 just because it'll be too far in front of the golem as well.
That's what I'm thinking.
And it also essentially gives you space for another one if they wanted to chuck it in there.
Mm-hmm. And I just don't know if it's worth 20 more than the golem. You know what I mean?
It's definitely not. Definitely not. I don't even think it's worth it right now.
I'd agree.
To be honest with you, the golem, like, because think about it, the main design of the whole series was to literally go for the whole A specifically, and the B is from space station to planet. Just that. That's the main thing. Now, why do I need a bed for that? I don't. And so basically you get a much smaller, trimmer ship, plus you get a tractor beam on the Ox. You don't get that on the thing. You can also take 32 S2 cargo containers. You can't do that. So I will happily give up something that I don't need to get two things that I do need: a tractor beam and 32 S2 containers. And everyone that I talk to is saying they prefer the golem. So
that's been kind of what I've heard overall. So yeah, I would totally agree with that.
I think they're doing it a disservice by putting it up. I honestly do. I think they're doing it a massive disservice.
Yeah. I would agree with that though. 100 sounds about right for that ship. Antar says Antar has a question about essentially about the release day of Squadron 42, referencing GTA. So we kind of answered that, kind of covered that. Do appreciate the question though. Gin and Tonic says, do you think we old farts with Kickstarter physical rewards get those with the release of Squadron 42 or SC 1.0?
We asked about that. No, that'll be down the track, and they will probably do physicalized editions after that. It's about getting the game out and digital editions first. But they do want to do physical editions, but most likely, because of the cost, they won't do it in places like, say, here in Australia, it's called EB Games, but over there it's called GameStop. It's the same people, or Game in the UK. Those major stores. It'll more than likely you buy if you want a physicalized version, you buy it off the RSI website.
Yeah. Antar says, do you think the Connie-shaped USB drive with Squadron 42 SC installation files will be a 1/500 or 1/200 scale? I would assume it's one.
It'll be pretty tiny.
Pretty tiny, yeah.
And again, knowing today's installation files, like one of the smallest USB sticks you can get is like 256. So they'll probably just get a 256, or if they can get it smaller, they'll probably go down to a if they could get a 1 or 2 gigabyte stick, that's probably all they're going to go for. You don't really need I don't know. We'll see.
Shmita says, question, do you think Squadron 42 will still be integrated as joining the Navy and SC, or will it be completely separated? Essentially just asking between this synergy between the two. Yeah, I'm still expecting there to be synergy. Now, CIG did say if you play through the Star Citizen 1.0 intro storyline, you get citizenship, which has changed a little bit from what they originally said. But I still think there's going to be those connections between the two products.
Yeah, I think you'll get citizenship. I think as you unlock ships in the campaign, you'll then have that ability to purchase them in Star Citizen. That seems to be what the original plan was back in the day. And I think one of the original plan was probably the F8 at the end. I now think it's something new.
Yeah.
And it's probably that ship people talk about. What was it? The Hornet F7X or the F8X or whatever it was called. It'll probably be something like that, just a ship that's not even in the campaign.
So now he could be trolling me. I don't even know if he's in chat. He could be trolling me, but C Daddy CIG did say that it's not the F7X.
Okay.
But CIG has told us.
I've also heard reports that John Crew said it's a neat little ship.
A neat little ship.
So whatever that means.
That
makes it sound like really tiny. It's an RSI snub or an MPUV?
But,
I got no clue.
But going back to what XQ just said, that does not preclude that you still get the F7X throughout your gameplay of Squadron. We're just talking about that ship you get at the end for completing it. You know what I mean? You still, as a matter of fact, I would not be shocked if you don't unlock a few literal Squadron 42 liveries along the way. I think you can unlock one for the Retaliator, probably one for the F8, probably one for the Hornets. I think you'll be able to, because there's several ships that the Squadron flies, right? So I think you can be able to unlock all those skins personally.
And why wouldn't they, when they already have those ships kind of in-game and working, why wouldn't they give you that as something different to do in the campaign? So I could even see you being able to say, as you said, the Retaliator, that'd be a really cool mission. You go out and you fly this bigger bomber just to feel different. I can totally see that.
Next question from Relentless says, do I have to be here live for the Perseus giveaway? No, you do not. But by being here live and watching, you get extra tickets for next year's giveaway, which is the Ironclad. We're gonna give that away at DefenseCon.
Didn't you say you were gonna give him? Didn't you say you were gonna give him a skin as well?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Sorry. If you're watching live and you win the Perseus, I'm gonna include the concierge skin, the white and gold.
No. Let him pick. Let him pick.
Yeah, I guess I could. That's true.
People hate that white one.
That's true.
Ugly as hell.
That's true. Okay. You know what? You convinced me. I'll let you pick. As long as you get back to me quickly, because IAE will be over. We'll be able to get these damn skids.
You've got like 12 hours. Yeah, if you get back to him in the next 12, well, you got to be on the stream right now.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. That's true.
You know.
Blue Jester says execute out here costing Grim all the money. That's true. That's true.
What is it, like $22 or something?
$22.
Like that? Anyway,
it's lunch for me. Camaraderie says, I believe they said that Squadron 42 will have episodes, right? For release, there will be episodes 1, and they have 2 more episodes.
Yeah. In
That's true,
fact,
yeah.
I can go one step further than that. If you have Legacy Alpha, so you're one of the people that joined way back at the beginning, and I actually still have a few of these as does our grid in our buybacks. We were considering buying them as Squadron was coming out and giving them away. It actually comes with episode 1 and episode 2.
Right.
And now you have to buy, you kind of get Star Citizen, you have to buy Squadron separately. Those ones actually come with Star Citizen episode 1 and episode 2, and they cost the same price that the ones cost now.
Yeah.
So they're a really, really good deal.
Yeah.
I think I've got a Freelancer and a Hornet left one.
Yeah. It would not shock me, while I don't think Squadron 42 Chapter 2 is like in production, it would not shock me if there's been a lot of work done on it in terms of writing.
You don't know the name. You don't know the name.
No. No, DM it to
I'll tell
me.
you now. I'll just tell you.
Okay, well, tell me now.
Behind enemy lines.
Oh, okay. Okay. We're going to Vandal space then.
Yeah.
We're going to go to a Vandal system. Cool. I like it.
Yep.
Rage One has a question. It says, did we get our Gleam tickets for the donations earlier in the year? Yes, you did, Rage. You did. I added those manually.
And then I deleted them.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes, that was like one of the first things I did. Seymour, and by the way, everyone, just so everyone knows, if you're wondering why I do the giveaways through Gleam, there's one thing I don't like about Gleam. I can't actually like share my screen when I hit draw a winner because it doxes the person. But the reason I do Gleam is I found it the easiest platform for me to go in or go into and manually add entries to people that either did charity donations, which is, through St. Jude, I gave you extra entries for things like that. And, or it plugs into this third-party app that I use that can add multipliers for you watching the stream.
Have you talked to Piggles? Because the new bot that's about to go into testing does giveaway stuff. So he might want some feedback on how you do giveaways. For options.
Yeah.
So,
I'll have to talk
to him about it. Because when he started this whole project, he basically talked to Space Demona, Paul, myself, and a couple other people, and basically just took everything that we wanted, and he's just like tried to integrate into one thing. But if you go there and say, give him some feedback, because he'll update it over time too.
Yeah. So, Mythos One, thank you for that subscription. Seymour Brown says, what are your thoughts on the Endeavor? Oh boy, I bought the master set years ago, but haven't really heard much on it since. I know we'll need a reconcept, but how much will they change it? Boy, have you asked the right people?
Excuse me.
All right.
Just get the Endeavor. Just get the Endeavor. Don't get the modules.
Yeah.
The modules are like fighters; they're not worth it for the cost.
Yeah.
And realistically, they give you one Endeavor, and they give you so many modules that it requires 4 Endeavors to use them all. So realistically, you're better off to just get one Endeavor and earn the modules in game, or maybe get one Endeavor and one module set that you like for that Endeavor. Yeah. Or if you're really in the Endeavor, just get 2 Endeavors. It works out. You do the math.
Yeah.
Like it's way better value. And you got to remember the size of that ship increasing as well.
Yeah.
And it's not a big investment because you just get a Gemini to an Endeavor CC for $10 and sit on it. That's all you got to do.
And Seymour, if you're still watching, I'm posting a link to my Endeavor shipyard video in there where I do a full ship breakdown of it. You can find tons of episodes on Info Runner's channel as well where they talk about the Endeavor. So make sure you go check that out.
There's a reason they call us the cult of the Endeavor for a reason.
Next question from Hunter Dird. Hopefully I said that right. What modules will you be wanting for the Galaxy as it gets closer to next IAE release? Well, I think they're not going to do any other modules other than the ones officially announced.
Wrecking Ball module.
Yeah.
I think that'll be...
They're going to come out with the controversy module. That's going to be the next one for the Galaxy.
Yeah. My fault, that one.
And True Sparta, yes, drops are activated for all the streams. So, yes, you are getting drops credit for being here. Yep.
Yeah. Paul brought that up during an episode at AIE, and then he totally forgot that was me that asked the question.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, yeah, that conversation, I don't know where it came from or where it started. I'm like, you did realize that was me, right? And
yeah. I mean, I'll say this. To be clear, I think we're going to get the 3 modules: cargo, refinery, and medical. I think the biggest
Yep.
takeaway from all that is refining. The refining must be coming to ship soon.
They talked about the Expanse.
Yeah,
They did talk about
I
Expanse. I think that's
absolutely
clearly,
though. I absolutely would not expect for the base building module to be coming out when it goes flight ready. That'd be a great surprise, but I don't think it's going to be the case. We don't even know if base building is going to be in the game by next IAE. I mean, we all kind of hope it is, but I don't think it is. I mean, maybe
think it's
it is.
probably coming. I think it's probably coming with Castra, and they did say that we'll be getting 2 planets within 1 year. So I think it'll come along wherever Castra comes along.
Look, this is a subject I want to be wrong on. So
I think it's clearly an aim to have it before Squadron comes out. I think it's just a nice.
I could see that, yeah.
Thing to have. I think they know it's a really big part of it. You know how you and I have talked about making access for a lot of people to get access to it. The build's been sitting there now since over 12 months now. If you think about CitizenCon, not this year, but last, that's over 12 months. What's that, like 13, 14 months now? We're in December. That is 14 months. So you kind of add all those things together. That ship's been sitting there for a while in the wings. That means they were planning to do it a lot earlier than now. That's so it's just a lot they're waiting.
I mean, I'll be totally honest with you. I would love. I can tell you a module I'd love for the Galaxy. Just going back to that real quick. They've been talking about crafting. I'd love a crafting module with it, because here's what would be kind of cool. If you could craft in your Galaxy and then load those components into something like a Golem that's sitting in the back, or a C8X or something, and fly those components to someone, who's without bringing your entire Galaxy down. I think I could see that being kind of cool. Or a small ship landing in your hangar and you giving them, selling them module or components or something.
One of the things you realize very quickly, so I'm just going to use the medical module example, like it has everything in it. So you have the size 1, 2 size 2s, and 3 size 3s. You have an area for an L lift to come down to put a nurser in it. You also have the room in the back where the Pisces C8R can go. So you can literally rock up to a situation and there's not a single thing that you can't cover with that Galaxy. The downside is, because the ship is modular, is you've also got to take all that crew with you to fly the actual ship. So you have a lot of added expense. Where you look at the Apollo, you can do all the beds, but you can't do the smaller vehicles, you can't do the smaller ship, and you've got to pick and choose which ones you take. But it's way more efficient than what the Galaxy is. Now you take that and put that into a base building module, knowing that you have a cargo lift that can take an Ursa, and you have the back area. Instead of making it like a base builder, because of all the problems where the drones come out, you have to crack the hull. They didn't build that in the original version. You make it so it's a ship and vehicle fabricator. So it can build little Pisces, or it can build other little snubs that go in the back. Or it can build vehicles that it drops out the bottom. The only ship that can do that right now is the Pioneer. And that thing is a behemoth.
Yeah, we do need other options for that.
Yeah.
Besides the ground-based fabricators, obviously.
And having a duplicate isn't the best thing, because right now, if you have the build, because the build is a variant is stronger than a modular ship. So if you make a Galaxy, the build is automatically going to be better at building than the Galaxy. But if you make it so it fabricates other vehicles, there's no other ship that does that besides the Pioneer, and it both allows them to be in the same size class and have a differential.
And Raygun.
Go ahead.
Raygun 972 in chat says that on the sell page they do say, and I quote, manufacturing and other modules.
Exactly. Yeah, they say manufacturing, but the reason why everyone wants base building is because Todd Pappy showed it on the slide. Of those 3 ships, right? So yes, that was heavily hinted. They never officially said this Galaxy is going to be a base builder, right? But they said manufacturing. So a lot of people feel that it needs to be a manufacturing. But I think if you made the compromise that it's a manufacturer, not a base builder, I think that would make most people content. Because again, and then if you're really willing, couldn't they release the 2 ships at the same price? And go, if you want the base builder, do a $0 CCU. They've done this in the past with Buccaneers and the Cutlass. Make them exactly the same price. And for that sale, when it comes out, they go, right, for the next month, you've got a $0 CCU. You can apply, and you can go from the Galaxy to that or that to the build. And I think that would solve the problem.
Yeah. It's a great point.
And even make it retroactive. So if you've already owned a Galaxy and you bought a Galaxy and you had it before it released, you can automatically go get the upgrade and apply to the build. But you can't go from a build back to a Galaxy, and that would solve the entire problem.
Gonna do a quick question here, and then go on to another topic I wanted to chat about with you real quick. XQ Riddick01 says, question, Riddick, nice to see you, buddy. Says, Graham, can you make an Obi-Wan ring for the Merlin? We were talking about that earlier. Yeah, maybe we need a Kruger ship that does that. All right, let's talk about the next thing I wanted to talk about.
Could be the Stingray.
Could be the Stingray. Let's talk about this. I still think rather big news from the ship Q&A. What was it called? Whatever, the SCL with John Crew and Ben Curtis.
The pumpkin pie stream is what it's called. The pumpkin pie stream.
Let's talk about these cargo changes here, and we sort of talked a little bit about this. I know Execute Me and you talked about this extensively, or at least for a little bit with Trispone on his show.
Yep.
And that is the changes to the whole D and E. And in addition to that, the Ironclad and Ironclad Assault. And I think we'd start with the whole D and E. What's your thoughts on that cargo change? Obviously, a pretty massive cargo change.
They are a really old ship from pre-metrics, right? So
real,
it's real obvious. It's the Crucible Endeavor treatment all over again, right? They can't do that many boxes, like 98,000 boxes. If you shot that ship and the power got turned off, can you imagine the power of your video card to run 98,000 boxes?
Yeah. I would go a step further and say, in full agreement with you, and I'm really glad John Crew apparently hit Disco up and said, hey, I want to get this information out there. I think that was important. Excuse me, everyone.
It's like he learned from last year.
Yeah. But I would say this is something I would say to CIG, if there is anyone from CIG happen to be watching. On ships that are really, really old metrics, okay, like, and I'd say the Starliner, the Crucible, the Endeavor, the whole DE and stuff, I personally would recommend going back on the ship pages and making a lot of those specific numbers you have attached to it, just say TBD or something that pull away some of those promises so that still, you know what I mean?
Yeah, they don't have the time to go back and reconcept them all now, obviously, because they got other shit to do. They don't have enough people to go around. But I really think that they should go, this is a much older ship design. It is most likely going to change. And just for those ones that were pre-metric, so the Crucible, the Endeavor,
it's not a lot of them.
Not a lot of them.
Some sort of warning on the web page, though. You know what I mean? Just some sort of warning on the web page, because that's the, in a lot of ways, I kind of white knight a lot of the ship selling CIG does. I think the game needs to have an income, and that's how the income is right now, so I don't really have a problem with it. That's the one place, though, that I'm always a little bit like, it doesn't feel really good. Like, you're selling stuff in these limited waves, even with some of these big ships, on completely outdated information. And I understand you may not know the information, but put some sort of warning up that tells people, hey, this is not accurate.
Well, they don't like to do that because it affects sales.
It does.
It's also being, consumer responsible and good business practices and all that. And unfortunately, because this game started in the US, I'm not trying to pick on people from the United States, but you guys know that you don't have the best consumer protection laws. But everywhere else in the world is way, way, way stronger. And that means blowback on CIG. So it's not me trying to say, oh, America's crap. It's more like protecting CIG while I'm saying this. And let's be honest, if they're doing it for other countries, doesn't that also mean in the States you kind of get a small benefit beyond what you normally get? And then you can start putting pressure on your congressman to get shit fixed.
To me, actually, I think it's like 7,000 SCU for the whole D, because it's like 6,900 something SCU. Let's just say 7,000, and then 12,000 something for the E.
That's still a hell of a lot.
It's a lot of cargo.
Leagues. So what is the band who mentioned the Ironclad are like around, I think one's like 1,800 and the other's like 2,000. You're still what's that? 5?
Yeah.
Oh god,
Yeah.
my math is off. Like 3 times more
Yeah.
on the E,
Yeah.
and then like what's that? Like 6 times more on the D.
Think about
Or the
think
other way
about
around,
this.
D and E.
Think
Yeah.
about this. The whole E will be like 2.5 whole C's worth of cargo. You know what I
Hey,
mean?
can you
That's a lot.
open
It is a
that-
lot.
Open that friend of mine's program called Hangerlink and just
Yeah.
pull them up so people can see the scale
Let
difference.
me pull that up.
He's now angry because I didn't feed him before the stream started, and they've been waiting for 2 hours.
Yeah.
So
Kitty.
he's been grumpy.
Let's see. Let's bring up the window here. Let's just we'll just add all of them. And then we'll
These are older models, but they still give you an idea
they're
of what they-
older models.
Yeah.
So auto layout real quick. Let me remove.
They definitely are now after the cargo change.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, you can see here. There's
Chuck in an ironclad and a banner mentionment too. I think they're really good references for the bigger ones. If you would be so kind.
I will.
Not to boss you around, but do as you're told. But yeah.
Well, and also, if you remember, John Crew even once referred to the Kraken as an in-game cargo ship, which I thought was interesting. There's these ships: Ironclad, Banu Merchantman, Hull E and D, Hull C. I'll position these here as we're talking about them. So
so you can kind of see, like, if you really want to do cargo, the whole series is the essentially the premiere of whatever its size classes it's in. But don't rule out other advantages. Like, we've only really got the privateer and the banner merchantman that do shops right now, but going down the line, I see a lot more of those coming.
And with the cargo thing, to me, and I know we talked about it, there's one point about the cargo. I'll call it a cargo refactor for the D&E and the especially let's talk about the D&E first before we get into Ironclad. With the D&E specifically, I think it's less about those. Well, it's about those ships getting brought down into reality, of course. But there's another big factor here that we cannot forget. The CIG I think it's the first time they've ever said this, unless Execute you heard this at a different period, but they confirmed that 32 SCU crates are the biggest we're getting.
Yeah,
that's the first time I've heard that. So if you take that into account, then obviously the whole system changes, because whenever in the past we've talked about the whole D and E and even other large cargo ships like that big consolidated outland one that we theorized and stuff, we always factored in, but it would need 64 SCU crates or 120 SCU crates or whatever. It was sort of always part of that equation, right? Because just the entity count alone would not work for 32 crates. So as soon as that decision was made at CIG, I guarantee you John Crew went, oh shit, I need to go back and relook at those ships, because that's not going to work anymore. You know what I mean? So if you're a D or E owner, and I'm a whole D owner, by the way, so I'm right there with y'all. I don't actually look at this as a nerf. I just looked at it as a refactor. You really have to keep that one point in your head when thinking about this, like whether you're salty about it or whether you understand it. You have to keep in mind that that's probably a big component of it, is that the 32 SCU crate's the largest. Now, the other stuff John Crew said, of course, performance and all those other things are part of it, yes. But that 32 crate limit is what then created a lot of the roll-on factors that we're seeing now, I think, with the D&E. Switching over to the Ironclad, which got a pretty substantial cargo buff. I mean, it's about a 30% cargo uplift on both variants. That was simply because they made some geometry changes in the ship according to them. Now, one interesting thing about that, and Execute, this is something I've heard you say a bunch too. It's so funny sometimes with ships, you will see, actually a lot of times with ships, you will see CIG put in like artificial limiters, maybe it's the width of the ramp in the back or a beam in the ceiling that prevents you from doing something. This is like one of the first times I feel like where CIG said, by removing some ladders, you can fit in 30% more cargo. You know what I mean? It's kind of a rare moment where it seems like CIG is accommodating.
It's like they're starting to learn and realize the annoyances of certain things, like the struts to what you talked about
Yeah.
for years and years on RSI ships.
Yeah.
They're learning, and that's a
Yeah.
good thing.
I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, and as that ship team grows, they're going to have more and more people having eyes on things, so they're going to notice more and more things too. You know, at one point they only had 8 people in the ship team for the longest time, so that's not a lot of set of eyes. So
yeah. By the way, real quick hack for everyone who uses Fleet Viewer, if you didn't already know, when you do a scroll wheel, it's kind of like this, you know, kind of sometimes it takes a while to get down to it. But if you switch your scroll wheel to smooth, you can go in and out real fast. Just FYI, if you didn't know that already. But on the Ironclad, I would just, go ahead.
I was going to say, I just did some math on the performance, like we were talking about with the thing. So I took the whole E's old cargo amount, which was 98,304, and divided it by 32, which gave me 3,072, right? So look, it's almost 10 times smaller, the final number. So the new cargo amount is 12,288, and you divide that by 32, you get to 384, which is what the old whole B was. So the cargo box limit is dropped significantly, and even then, 384 entities is a shit ton of entities.
That's actually
it's a lot.
Well, and since we're talking about it, let's go ahead and pull up a known quantity right off the bat. I think I don't know if VM's still in, the whole E is 4,608, right? Divided by 32-ish, it's 144, right? So it's 4,608. That's 144 entities on the whole C. That's a lot, by the way. So we're talking on the whole E. There's already going to be a damn near a tripling of that, or doubling and a half of that number. That's probably telling you the upper limits of what they expect the engine to be able to handle once they get to that level of optimization. Because I think they're probably doing a little bit of math there. You know what I mean?
I honestly think they're going to have to do some tricks there. And so let me give an example. You know, I talked about how the power turns off or whatever. I would almost imagine that they would have individual components throughout the ship, almost like one power generator per strut. So the maximum strut you can knock off when you knock out the power is to knock out one strut or something like that. And when the power is like fully knocked out, they're locked down. So, you know, maybe they'll even make it so you can only shoot off individual boxes. They are not going to want that whole thing just to have the power cut and all the boxes drift. Because it just can't handle it. It's crazy. It's too many.
It's
crazy.
There's another factor, and I don't know if I saved it. I'm actually going to check real quick. One of the things John Crew said, I watched another content creator, I'm not going to name who it is. They were talking about this very issue the other day, and they were kind of calling John Crew out for sort of, I don't want to say lying, but kind of saying where John Crew said, well, it just wouldn't work. It wouldn't physically work, the scales and all that. And this content creator was kind of saying, oh, that's not true. He's lying there, whatever. The one thing that this other creator wasn't factoring in, though, and maybe that was a mistake. But
so the guy in his backyard doing the napkin math is better than the entire team of people that are paid full time to do it, and they know all the stuff in the background.
Right. And I'm going to go right to the whole C real quick to illustrate this point.
Off the wacky weed, bro. Like, come on.
Originally with the whole C, both, and here's what I think a big part of this refactor came into play too, is with the whole C, a lot of people didn't notice this, but when it transitioned from flight ready or the original concept mesh to where they ended up building out the ship over many years, there were some major changes to the spindles themselves. And the rear spindle changed direction completely. And the reason it did is because they realized you could not load and offload the boxes easily because of the way the spindles were shaped. Now multiply that on a ship that's got 4 spindles on it, and that problem exponentially gets more difficult. So I think it's not just about how much cargo the ship can carry. It's how the hell do you get it on there and get it off of there? I've
actually thought of this. I think they may potentially, this is a potential, right? Is they make it so that you unload it from the outside in, and you can actually close the front and back spindles while the middle two are open.
Yeah, maybe so. Maybe so.
Because you can't unload it all at once. So you basically go, and then you still got 2 open.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me.
Can I see that again in reverse, please? That was fun to watch.
What's that? Oh, there you go.
Smart ass Art taking advantage. See, I'm the smart ass here. You can't do my job, but I'm exhausted. So yeah.
Thank you.
By the way, for a
I'll take
second,
compliment.
You get one of these a year, Art, and that's it. And that's when I'm really exhausted. Every other time I would eat
Well,
you for
to
breakfast.
be fair, we're close to the end of the year, so I'm just gonna go ahead and cash it in now.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, you only get to cash it in at this time because any other time I wouldn't let you cash it in. But yeah.
By the way, everybody, we are not very long, maybe about 45 minutes away from giving away an RSI Perseus live on stream. If you've entered this giveaway and been waiting for it, it will be happening in about 40 minutes-ish. So we got a little bit more discussion. Hang out with us. Please hang on and hang out with us as we're having some just interesting discussion. But yes, we are getting to that. It is coming. But yeah, so I think there's some interesting changes here. I think that these cargo metric changes, I'm again glad John Krug got them out. It did lead me to doing a lot of thinking about a lot of old ships, Crucible especially, but even ships like the Vulcan, ships like the Genesis Starliner and stuff. And it's more just a communication thing. It's like, how does CIG better communicate expectations on those ships to where it doesn't have to be an SCL where, information like this is put out there that not everyone's going to see. For example, I went on the Ironclad's webpage again today, and they have updated the cargo on the Ironclad on the actual page now to 2200 or whatever. But on a different part of the same exact page, it has the old SCU. So on two different places on the same page, it has two different cargo amounts. And I realize that's a lot of hard work to deal with. But at the same time, it's the buyer's window to what they're buying. So hopefully CIG on some of at least the concept ships can, and I know this is going to be not a problem at some point, but a lot of those old concepts, I think some sort of like disclaimer. You know what I mean? When you hit purchase on it, maybe they have that. I haven't purchased a concept ship in a while. Maybe there is a disclaimer now. Actually, I didn't think about that.
Something I did think about last week that I run by you just to put in your thought bubble, and we should probably ask Triss as well. With the Liberator going into production, how far away do you think the Crucible is?
It's a good question. I think it comes back to obviously gameplay features, because what we're talking about is repair gameplay, right? And
base building is basically the full breadth of it, where repair is you just start further along and go back to the endpoint.
I tell you this,
it's the same thing.
Here's what I would say. I think when they do the Liberator, it's possible they'll do a reconcepting on the Crucible, but I don't see it going in development. And my big issue with the Crucible and the Vulcan, and it's been my issue with those ships for a while, is the Vulcan especially relies on drones, right? But the Crucible, to me, in its current form, is much like the Pioneer in that it relies on a lot of shit we just don't have in game right now. Right? It has drones. It has
drones, but drones will be there by then because the base building will be in.
Now, here's what I will say: the command module tech is specifically what they need for the Scarab and Crucible marriaging, feature of that ship. So that's one thing.
So that's in.
Yeah, so that's something.
What else?
My thing, though, with the Crucible is I see the Crucible getting additional gameplay features that aren't currently listed. Like, for example, I do think the Crucible is going to get fabrication machines in it of some type. As a matter of fact, it would not shock me, and me and you've had this discussion, if the Crucible Scarab doesn't turn into a fabrication hangar for extra small ships, maybe. Like light fighter size ships. To me, like, for example... Yeah, go ahead.
This was last year. Hang on. Someone just sent me something about the thing. I'll send it to you and you can read it, because I'm just fried. I can't read right now.
But I do think it'll get reconcepted. I just don't think it's going into production.
Yeah. I think it's potential though, because the Liberator, it's the only other ship of that size that they haven't done. They've got the Carrack, they've got the Liberator, so there any other ship in there that they could do as the Crucible. And I think there actually is a need for the Crucible now that there are multiple large capitals in the game. The Idris, the Javelin will probably be in by then as well because of Squadron. The Kraken will probably be out. You got the Privateer, so we've got a few big ones there, and they're going to need repairs.
Yeah.
If they break, and especially the respawn times on them.
I mean, I think I want Repair to get in the game already. I think I wish it would have been here last year, but yeah, it's to me the Crucible is just a ship that's getting a Pioneer level reconcepting.
Well, be honest with yourselves. Take out whether you're in a Liberator or a Crucible. What's more beneficial for the game, the Liberator or a Crucible?
Yeah, Crucible all day
And,
long.
it's clearly the Crucible because of the ability to repair everything.
Yeah. I
Go ahead.
almost wonder, not to interrupt you, there's part of me that wonders the reason we haven't gotten Repair gameplay yet, because remember when they were talking about, oh, it's just reverse salvaging, right? Part of the reason, or part of the reason I speculate that we haven't got it yet is they may be reconcepting how Repair gameplay works. And I'm wondering if that has a lot to do with Maelstrom.
True.
You know what I mean? Like if Maelstrom, like
right. So I've now just envisioned what you're talking about. So Grim has just built a Lego castle.
Yes.
I've knocked it over. Now he's going to go back and pick up all the little pieces of Maelstrom brick and then weld it all back together. Wow.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if that was anything remotely like it was like in game?
Yeah. But I'll tell you, if you ask me, based off what we got with the Pioneer, which I've been no stranger in saying that I think the Pioneer's new concept is much better than where it was previously. I love what CIG did. But based off that, just going with that trajectory, and by the way, we only got about 40 minutes left of this show, everybody, so an execute can sleep. But based off that
before I sleep.
But based off that trajectory, if they redid the Crucible, I honestly could see them making that Scarab a fabrication hangar that can do up to extra small, maybe small ships. So think up to like medium fighters, right?
What size pad is that?
So that'd be like, was that size 2?
It already does size 2.
Okay, so size 3. So it'd be size 3 pad.
Yeah, so that would size 3 takes it up to things like the Cutlass and the Freelancer, and that's what I want them to do.
Yeah, and
I want them to increase it by 1.
Yeah,
because
I don't think we're going to get bigger than that though, because I think anything bigger than that, personally, I think is going to be limited to space station dry docks and surface level fabrication hangars.
I also think they need to up it to be a capital. I actually think it needs capital components. I think it needs to be a medium pad, which is S3. And I think, because if you think about the way things work, if you've kind of got the Vulcan down here that does just drones, and you've got the Crucible, and you can put a ship in the middle, isn't that the arms of the Crucible but without the drones? And the Crucible has drones and the arms, so you can see the natural stepping down. And I think there's room for another ship there. So you pump the Crucible up and put another one below it, kind of like what they did with the Arasta and the Orion, and they're more than likely going to do that. Well, they've mentioned a large salvager.
Yeah.
So how do you do? It's kind of like you said. How do you do a ship above the Crucible, though?
Right.
And that's I just can't see that. But again, as you said, it might be some new gameplay.
Well, and sort of where I was going with that is this reconcepting of the Crucible that we expect. We know it has to get some level of reconcepting because the ship is pre-metric. So this reconcepting, though, is probably taking into account things like resource management, engineering, crafting, the what do you call it? The all those Maelstrom, all that stuff, armor, all that crap. So I think, again, it's going to be like the Pioneer, where they try to retain a lot of what the ship looks like from a visual identity perspective. But I think a lot of the ways that the ship actually functions will be completely different. That's what I'm thinking.
We heard rumors that it doesn't rotate anymore. Like, you remember the rotisserie restaurant style thing? It doesn't need to rotate anymore. They're just going to make it fly forward, but from the back, and that solves the whole need for it to move around. There is one other ship that had the load distribution thing, and that was the Raft? And
has the what?
That Crucible. There was something about a load distribution, and I believe it was, I think it was the Raft, or was it another ship that had the same tech that the Crucible needed, because as you move depending on where you put the cargo,
center of mass changes, right?
Its center of mass had to change, and the Crucible needs that as well, because depending on the ship that is sitting in the Scarab, it needs to redistribute its weight.
Absolutely. And the Crucible had a number of weird things on it. Not only could its bridge rotate, the
Yep.
engines could do full rotations as well and slide down
Yep.
tracks. And that's sort of what you're talking about
That's
there.
yeah. And it also weirdly was the only ship that could repair itself, because you could open the engines and it could repair the arms could go in and repair the engine, which is bananas.
Right. Yeah.
But it's cool, self-service, so to speak. So yeah, kind of cool.
Yeah. And the key thing with a lot of those type of ships, again, we're talking these and I'll just drag this over for a second, these ships that are like just really, really old that CIG needs to sort of go back to is hopefully and I think this is the case with the whole D&E. I genuinely do look at it that way as a whole D owner. I think CIG is concepting them to be better ships. It's not like I would get out of your head that like, oh, it got nerfed, right? It's been nerfed into the ground. I saw a couple of videos saying that, for example.
Yeah.
It's more that the ship has been made to work with the game that's being built. You know what I mean?
Like I showed you on the calculator then. 384 boxes versus 3,000. Seriously, think about every video game you've ever played. You cannot have 3,000 entities in a multiplayer network game. It just would not work.
Yeah.
You imagine that coming on your screen.
Yeah.
Just on your screen, not even moving or anything like that. You just look at the ship and your game's going to lag.
Yeah.
And think about all the tech that they'd have to deploy to stop it from lagging. So they'd have to make all the boxes solid when it's on the whole E and stuff like that. So it's actually one giant box or 4 giant boxes around the spindles. Like, it's just, they'd have to deploy so many tricks to pull it off. It's too much work, and it would never, like you'd see holes in it. The more different tricks you've got to deploy, the more holes, and it breaks the realism and all that. Like, remember when we used to have a little bit of popping and how much that used to break, and now we don't see that popping, and it's just so much more smoother. Well, that's the type of thing you'd be dealing with, is pop in and pop out type of things.
You can see here, I don't know if this animation I did shows it, I forget, but you can see here in this animation, this is how the engines were able to rotate, but not only rotate, they could slide down these tracks here that you see on the side of the nacelles. One thing I'll tell you too about the Crucible, for those who don't know, is some of these really old ships, like the Crucible, the Endeavor, the Starliner, there was a few others. The Polaris was one of these before it went into development. Their hollow models are absolute nightmare. So, and what I mean by that is you could tell whatever work CIG had done on them from a concept standpoint were much more just thrown together than how they are now. You know what I mean? It was just the way ships were concepted and thought about back in those days is not how they're done now. We should all be thankful of that, by the way, because again, I think we're getting much better ships. And I think the Perseus, I had someone ask me recently what I thought of the Perseus just the other day or something. And I immediately come, oh, it's a new high water. It's a great ship. It looks amazing. But really, when you step back and think of it in terms of just overall, like holistically, all the ships, what the Perseus is a good example of, and there's other ships like this, Paladin, Clipper, but some of these newer ships are showing just how mature the ship pipeline has become, not only over the last decade, but even in the last 2 years. You know what I mean? It's impressive. So,
yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
Well, look at the Polaris to the Perseus. Yeah. As a statement of what you were talking about, and I 100% agree with you. Yeah.
The next thing,
because we were all going, oh, look at the Polaris.
Yeah.
And now we're going, oh, look at the Polaris. What difference 12 months makes.
The next thing I want to talk about is a little ship we heard is coming in 2026. Which, by the way, I just want to point out, everybody, we haven't had any raids tonight, and we're at 411 on YouTube or Twitch, and almost 300 on YouTube. So thank you, everybody, for hanging out.
Damn.
Let's talk about this ship.
Absolutely awesome.
Yeah, that is.
I can get those numbers.
That is totally awesome. This amazing community. Do appreciate you sharing it with everybody. I know a lot of people have let their friends know and stuff about the show, so do appreciate that. Let's talk about this ship. The possible hull. I can't talk. Aurora Mark II.
Hey,
now we did some kit bashing here.
Huh? You're showing the wrong photo. You got to show VMXO's photo. They talked about that. Remember?
I know. I knew. Where's VMXO's photo? I need to show that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna find that.
For those that don't know, it was VMXO that made this photo that went completely viral.
Here it is.
We've talked
Literally
about
the
it before.
first thing that comes up on
it is.
on
It's
Google
so
search.
popular.
It's so popular.
Yeah.
it
If
is
they don't integrate that somehow, or there's a tip of the hat somehow to that, I think people are going to riot.
Yeah, it's
they must know how popular it is. If it's the number one photo that comes up when you search for the Aurora.
Hey Haskaha, hope you're well, buddy. Yeah, they have to do a wink and a nod to this. So this is the concept image that VMXEO did. A lot of people think this is a CIG concept image. It is not. It's a fan made thing by VMXEO. So we know we're getting an Aurora Mark II. Now the only thing, here's the thing. The fact that it's an Aurora Mark II probably means it's not going to look like this in terms of like the nose and how you get in it and all that stuff. They're obviously going to redesign that heavily. It still could be X-winged, and I think we do need another X-winged RSI ship. I think that'd be really, really slick. But it does make you wonder what an Aurora Mark II would be like. I mean, obviously, I think it's going to borrow heavy. I think the Aurora Mark II is essentially going to be a mini Zeus, personally. I think it's going to be a baby Zeus.
I think it is going to be in the spirit of the Aurora. Actually, I really do. I think it is going to be in the spirit of the Aurora, just updated components and stuff like that. But my brain goes so you know how there was a $50 price difference between the Hornets, and they were in the $100 window. This is a sub $100 window, so I'm going $25. So that would put it at $70.
Right.
That's kind of where my brain goes, and that kind of in a weird way also makes it the advanced starter, if you do the math.
Yeah.
We don't have an Aurora. We don't have an RSI advanced starter. So they could literally just have the Aurora for both their starter and their advanced starter.
I think we would be getting Gravy. Thank you for the subscription and thank you for that name, Papa Juggernaut. Nice to see you, buddy. I think the Aurora Mark II, by the way, I do think it will have some sort of interior. I think it'll be small, like the Cutter or something, but it's going to have some sort of interior. I think that is just considered like part and parcel now to starters. There's a lot of advantages there. I think that the big question for me, and I'm curious about this with UXQ, do you see variants with an Aurora Mark II, or do you see it being modular, like a modular starter?
I think it's going to be like an advanced starter. Like I said, it's right in that price range. If my math is correct, at around $70. I think there's multiple ways you could take it, like you've done here, like a mini Zeus. You can make it its own thing. It really depends where they want to take it, and it's such an iconic ship. Like I just don't.
Actually, they could lean to. I would love to see, they probably wouldn't because I think it's part of the industrial thing, but I really love the look of the salvage. The Salvation. I could see like the Salvation glowed up to a little bit more of a general purpose ship instead of, an purely industrial ship, but some of that stuff coming in, I think could be really cool.
You know how there's kind of like two wings on the Zeus? Could you almost take like the four wings of the Aurora, but put it in the Dorito shape? So like a four-winged Zeus, if you get my meaning of that. Chunky it up a bit. I don't know. Like, again, do they make it like, yes, it is a Mark II, but it's still an older design? My biggest hope, right? I was not a fan of the Zeus, right? And when I talked to Ben, he really wanted that thing to be pokey. I would love to see the numbers on the Zeus now over 12 months on. I don't know a lot of people that have held on to their Zeus. I know there are Zeus owners.
I can speak a little bit to that.
Yeah, please.
So I have I really like the Zeus's when it came, like the concept. So I was like, oh, that's the ship for me. That's the new daily driver. I got the new hotness about it. And then I pledged for the CL. I was like, that's the one I want. That's what I'll use.
I would agree that is the most popular of the Zeuses. Yep.
And I still have it, but I'll tell you this, as much as I loved it and I flew it everywhere, I would say in the last 4 months, more and more, I keep trying to convince myself to get rid of it. Like, you know what I mean? And the Clipper is the ship that really kind of made me go, And again, they're not even the same thing. The Clipper's a cargo ship. But actually, I'll tell you the ship that really changed the conversation for me on the CL, and it was the Raft. The Raft's rework. But go ahead.
Just real quick, before you talk about that, Art, can you do a poll on both Twitch and YouTube about the Zeus? Didn't get it, got it, kept it, got rid of it, or Maybe the last one is got it, and got rid of it covers it. Yeah, could you do that for me, Art? Is that possible? Something like that?
I won't be able to do it on YouTube.
Yeah, I can do it on
Why not?
YouTube. What's
Oh,
the
yeah.
what's the question again?
What's the question? What did you do with your Zeus?
Okay.
And then the first one is I didn't get one. The second one is I kept it, and the third one is I got rid of it.
Okay.
And again, when I say get rid of it, that's just any time you got rid of it. I'll just be really curious to know what people did, and that covers all three Zeuses. Don't worry about specifically telling us which one, because guess what? I have a CL as well. I also have a Marky Mark, and both of them are on the chopping block.
All right. YouTube
Because
polls running.
the Freelancer Max just shows how bad the CL is.
Yep.
And the Marky Mark is just really expensive for what it is. Like, the A1 was really expensive, and that's $10 more. But I got a Raelian sitting there at 220, and I know it's about to explode in value.
Yeah.
What the hell wouldn't I just upgrade to that?
Yeah, you do start to ask those questions. I mean, for me, the conversation on the Zeus CL started shifting, and this is probably the worst way for it to happen. It was just by using the ship. I started finding issues with it. Same thing I had with the Starlancer Max. I love the ship,
what were
but
those?
the use case
What were those?
issues, honestly,
what were those
getting
issues for
shit
you?
in and out of it was a problem.
Yep. Loading
For a
stuff in.
cargo
But
ship.
the first thing I noticed that when I used it, that was one of the first things. But the first one thing to me was when I was showing people through the ship, and we kept bumping into each other going through the doors. It's a 3-person ships, and you can't even walk past people in the doors.
Yeah. And
I'm talking like not just the doors of the bedroom, but the main thoroughfare.
Yeah.
Like you have to kind of come out single file and go back. It was so annoying.
And here's the thing.
He wanted that as a design element.
Right.
Come on, bro. I know he's an art guy, but you've got to have a function person override the art person in that respect.
Yeah.
And that's why I think the Zeus is a badly designed ship, because no engineer would let that shit fly.
Yeah. Thank you, Groza. Appreciate that. And here's the thing. Let me say this to everyone, because I know there's probably Zeus lovers in chat. I do still love the Zeus. I'm hanging. I still have it. My issue with it is, from a looks perspective, I think the ship is gorgeous. My issue with it is just in my personal usage of the ship, I found issues. And here's the thing. It's not that I found issues in a vacuum. It's that I had some issues, and I was like, not a big deal. The ship's so cool, whatever. But then I did some stuff with the raft, and I was like, oh, damn. Oh, man, the raft is just so much better of a cargo ship than the Zeus CL. You know what I mean? In terms of just functionality. I'm not talking looks. I'm not talking. And here's the thing, and this is for anyone in chat, because I do this myself. You are perfectly allowed to like a ship that other people do not like, or a ship that has issues.
Exactly.
I have ships that I love that are not great ships. Okay?
You should be able to criticize every ship in the game.
Absolutely.
And I do that. I don't see a poll up on Twitch though, by the way. I only see it on YouTube. But anyway,
I'm working on it. My computer was running slow.
You're not gonna get the big bucks with that attitude, Art. You're gonna get fired.
I always
You're
get
gonna
fired.
He
threatens to fire me at least like once a week.
I wouldn't threaten. I would fire you, then rehire you.
Yeah.
That's very.
Art just dares me to. He's like, do it. But here's what I'll say about the Zeus. The Zeus is one of those ships that I do wonder if there was some sort of like change in thinking at CIG. You kind of alluded to this a little bit earlier, Execute, where you said it sort of seems like they're learning. And this isn't any like shade being thrown at CIG, but like I think there was a history of CIG designing ships and going, oh, you know what? This is really cool. Let's put this 1 or 2 limiting things in there, though, to kind of neuter the ship a bit, to keep it in check. Where now with some of these newer ships, though, I feel like they're going the opposite direction. You know what I mean? Where they're adding.
We already saw that this year, though, with the Apollo, that closed neck.
That's true.
And I think it'll be, if the Hermes does end up coming out, I think you'll see.
Yeah, that's a great point. But you know what I mean? It just seems like there used to be this issue where ships seem to be artificially neutered, and now there seems to be this thing where it's like, oh man, by the way, we just upped the cargo capacity of this ship by 600 SE. It's like, oh, okay, great. It just seems like now they are looking for opportunities to make ships better instead of just trying to keep them in check all the time. And it does feel like sort of a newer change in philosophy. You know what I mean? I don't, and maybe I'm reading it into something that's not actually happening, but you know, look, the same. I'm sure there's people that will say this. Well, they did that to the Clipper, they did it to the this or that or the other. But I don't know. It's just something I've picked up on. I don't know if it's an actual thing, but just it seems like something that maybe is happening. But real quick here, let's talk about. I did want to talk about one other subject before we get to the Perseus giveaway. And that is and you know what? I'm going to use Fleet Viewer to do this.
Well, before we move on,
yeah, go ahead.
Did you want to talk about the poll real quick?
Yes, let's talk about the poll real quick.
Poll on YouTube.
Yep.
So I think that's kind of interesting. So yeah, so
okay. It's ended.
You read it.
You talk about that. I'm gonna get something else set up.
So basically, I got it back up now. So 45%. This is just only on YouTube because art is slow. 45% kept it.
Shot across the bow, man.
32%. You're off the Christmas card list, Art. I didn't. 32% didn't get one, and 23% got rid of it. I think 23% is fairly high, to be honest, of people that brought a ship and then got rid of it. And the other thing we didn't consider, there is people that are planning to get rid of it too, or they've got it now and they're going to get. So yeah, I should have said that too. Yeah, so there might be more people getting rid of theirs in the future. There might not, but yeah, I like there's things I like about it, but then I think you'd agree with this as a whole, both of you. They look really good on paper, and then you actually actively start using them and they just don't function properly. And I think that's the problem. I saw that both in the Polaris, with what Ben wanted in the Polaris, and in the Zeus. Like, he wanted this type of feel, but there's a function. And I think they learned the function with the Perseus, and I want to see more of that function. You know how you've heard them talk about game design, where they say it should be more fun and then bring it back to kind of realism, like the story is a background thing that just reinforces the gameplay. It's the same thing. A ship should be functional before it looks pretty. You know, it needs the gameplay. Like, you know, when I kind of criticize Origin ships, right? Yep. They look really pretty, but they don't have a lot of functionality. I want them to be better. It's the same thing here. Yeah. I just want the Zeus to be better functionally. It looks really good, but I want more function with it.
The last thing I want to talk about tonight, and then we're going to we'll hit the Perseus giveaway. By the way, everyone, I did not hit all the questions, but I have saved them. I have another stream on Thursday. I have to put that up on the schedule, by the way. And when I do the stream on Thursday, I'll circle back to those questions. By the way, I have saved them because the bot picks them up. But last thing I wanted to talk about, we just had so many questions, by the way. We could do another 3 hours of this show on questions.
I know.
But
maybe what you want to do on Thursday? I can come back if you want, and we can do them then.
We can hit some more on Thursday.
I'll have slept by then.
Okay. I wanted to talk about the manufacturers that have, according to CIG, new ships coming next year, which there are a lot. And just wanted to make sort of any sort of predictions. I mean, some of these are known entities, and I think we could separate those out now. Obviously, and it doesn't mean there won't be additional ships coming from those manufacturers beyond the ones I say here, but I think we can make some obvious conclusions here. Obviously, with actually, let me unlock the canvas here. Obviously, with Gatak or Gatak, we're going to get the Raylan. That's something we know is coming.
Stingray with the Kruger.
Stingray with the Kruger. Yep, that's a known one. Galaxy with RSI,
the Shank or whatever the Aurora thing is with Greys.
Yep, the Shank. I hope it's called.
The MFC with the Grey Cat.
Yep, MFC with Grey Cat. Yep, absolutely.
Most likely the G12 with Origin.
I think that's a likely bet, and let's talk about that for a minute.
Yep.
Just so everyone knows, because I said this in one of my chats the other day, and everyone was like, "No, I think it's something different." It could be something different, obviously.
It could be.
I think the reason,
likely contender is the G12.
I think the reason we say the G12 is the G12 has been something that has literally popped up on the in production list multiple times over the last few years. As a matter of fact, it was not. I think it was earlier this year, I even heard another leak that it was going back into production, then got paused again.
Yep.
And John Crew has even stated in the past that it's a ship it's a vehicle that gets paused a lot. It's also not to make it out like it's just easy. It's low hanging fruit for CIG just to push out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anvil with the Atlas platform, the
Yes.
Anixia or Elixia or Erixia,
Yeah, whatever they're calling it, the versatile ground vehicle. Yep.
Misk with the build.
Really? You think the build
Yep.
next year?
It's got to be out for you got to have base building ready to go in for Star Citizen's got to be in a good place.
Could I make another Misk prediction? The Expanse.
Totally.
The Expanse.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, there's two there then. Yeah, perfect.
That's
yeah,
my thinking there. Yeah,
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Now we get into ones that are really speculatory.
Yeah.
I think Clipper variants.
Well, and we know the Ironclad and Kraken are obviously in production.
Oh, yep.
But
Ironclad,
yeah, that makes
definitely.
sense.
So chuck it up
sense.
there.
Yep. So quite probably a few ships from Drake, if I'm not. And I would agree with you. I would suspect a Clipper variant next year. I could easily see that, especially with how popular it was. If they weren't planning on one, I guarantee you they're planning one now. Because Galactica just made a post today on Twitter talking about how popular the Clipper was.
Yep.
Yep.
Well, from what they alluded to, it was the most successful Drake ship they've ever had. The most successful ship they ever sold was the Cutter. So does that now mean the Clipper is the most successful ship they've ever had?
Yeah, and chat's saying the whole B for Misk. Yes, whole B. You're right. You're exactly right.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yep. Agreed. Yep. Again, so we got.
But yes,
potential.
you're right there with about the Clipper. Yeah. So let's talk about the last two, and then I have a third contender, or one more that's not on the list I want to talk about. But let's talk about Argo and Aegis. What do you think?
So there's two that can fall under Argo, and you'll also notice mysteriously there are no Consolid Outlands on the list at all. But they did mention a large orange salvager, so I now think that really puts Argo back in contention for that. It's the only one I can think of, unless I know people have mentioned a Raft variant is a possibility. I wouldn't rule that out either.
Can we make can we say one other thing too though? Everyone remember, this is something John Cruz said on a Star Citizen Live, which means it possibly can and will change. Okay.
Ben actually said that.
Oh, did he say? Okay.
Thing. Yep. Same thing. So that one, these are probably the most two speculatory. Let's be honest. We don't have a lot to go on other than the large orange salvager. But let's be honest, Argo would be a really good tender for that. And they don't have a large ship. They have the Mole, which is the largest medium, so it kind of can look a little bit like a large, but isn't actually one.
And let's say two other things about these manufacturers. Argo has no concept ships left. It's all release ships at this point. So anything new from them is new from them. Aegis still has two, right? Vulcan and Nautilus.
Say again?
Vulcan and Nautilus for Aegis. And I don't think it's either one of those. So it would be a new Aegis ship probably.
Yeah. I think it's more than likely. I'm just going to chuck it out there. I know you can hate it when I say this, but the Vulcan could be a contender. With drones coming along and repair. As I said, there is a real need for repair, and it is a form of base building. So I wouldn't rule out a Vulcan. But again, I think more than likely it's like the Bearcat or the Wolf Claw or whatever the hell. There's a bunch of other fighters there. We also don't have a straight starter from Aegis. We have the advanced starter, but we don't have the Aurora Mustang level. We've got the advanced starter. So there is room there for another starter.
I would agree with that. Aegis. It's got a hole in its lineup regarding that.
Yeah. And it's clearly the most missing thing that they have, because they got a lot of really big ships and they got a lot of fighters, but they don't have that very bottom one. And let's be honest, it being that older manufacturer, it's probably
now this is an interesting one. I think a couple people are saying in chat, but camaraderie says it. Javelin. It's possible. It could come with Squadron.
Yeah, no, God, I'm an idiot. Yeah, Javelin. Yeah. Chuck it up there. Chuck it up there. Javelin. Straight away. Yeah, 100%. After Squadron, that thing will be there like next week.
That's a great point. I'd forgotten about that, but
yeah, me too.
Now, remember, they originally said the Javelin would come out a little bit after Squadron's release, but with the Idris coming out early, it would make perfect sense for the Javelin to be that big celebration ship they release alongside Squadron. And here's the thing: you can add in, just from a pure PR standpoint, that's kind of nice that you can go, oh yeah, we're releasing our game and bringing one of the biggest long promised ships ever to Star Citizen. You're
Yep.
fulfilling a promise, and that gives
Yep.
confidence. So,
Agreed.
Argo,
That's a good
yeah,
point.
yeah. I think with
Sometimes it's
Argo,
right in front of our faces and we
That's true.
miss it because we're so buried in the details. And
Yeah.
you guys are all going javelin, and we're going
Spectre
what
Spectre
javelin?
EH says the copium is a little deep tonight. Just saying, hey, you know what? Sometimes it is. I'm drinking pure copium in this cup right now. Don't worry. So with Argo again, I'm hoping it's the large salvager. I'm hoping it's the large salvager. Now the question though with that is, what size regime does there's a large is there's a big gulf with large. It can be anything from 55 meters
large,
to 140 meters.
it's actually less. It's less than that. It's
Okay.
I believe it's like 41 meters.
Okay, 41
all
meters
the way up to 128.
Okay.
The biggest one that'll fit in the hangar is the Carrack at 126 because
right,
pad,
you're right.
I'm going by pad size,
Yes,
right?
pad size.
So the Apollo was 43 meters,
Mhm.
so it made a 41 meter pad to a 43 thing, and then but whatever. So long story short, there's almost two sizes, and then you've actually got S4s and S5s.
I personally
into the large.
not. I mean, I'm being a little like vague with this in terms of why, but I personally would like to see more ships in that size range that we don't have a lot of ships in, which is in that like 80, 90 meter range. We kind of have the Star Lancer and the 600i. I'd love to see more ships kind of fall in that. There are some concept ships in that size range, the Genesis and the Crucible, but I'm almost thinking those will be much bigger when they go in reconcepting. So it'd be nice to see a few more ships fall into that size, 80, 90 meter size category. And I think that an Argo ship at that scale doing salvage would really be exciting for me. Salvage is one of my favorite gameplay loops in the game. So that would be really cool.
Well, there's so many different ways they can take a large salvager too. Do they make it like it's all drone based?
Right.
Do they remove the drones and it doesn't have processing like the Reclaimer, or does it do you just take one thing away from the Reclaimer and that's what the ship does?
Yeah.
You know, so you look at the Vulture where it's using blast charges, and then the Reclaimer is literally kind of breaking things apart. Is that really the determining thing? It just has essentially a way to cut things up that the Vulture doesn't have. So
right.
Yeah.
Well, could we also look at the fact that it's a lot of industrial kind of manufacturers that we're seeing. I personally am hoping that with Nix and everything else that we actually are going more towards refining and stuff of materials, getting closer to that crafting, getting closer to.
You're right. So let's think about base building, man. What's required for base building? Because that can't. I know the leg extractions on the Pioneer, but you essentially the only two professions you have that can feed into base building right now is salvage and mining.
Yeah.
Right.
So you need that plus refining to get to base building, right?
Right.
So you have to have that all in place for base building to work, and you see where I'm going here pretty quickly. You know, they've been working on salvage, obviously. They've talked about a large salvager. And then, you know, mining, it would be really nice to have an Arastra, but there's a lot of work doing.
Ooh, who rated us? Tom Beckhauser. Tom.
Hey, Tom.
Hope you're doing well, buddy. Nice to see you. Rating with 114 viewers. Hope you had a nice stream. What were you up to? Appreciate you bringing your community over here. You brought them over at just the right time. We are in the midst. We're about 5 minutes away from doing a Perseus giveaway. So let me go ahead and run through that. If you're coming over from Tom's channel, we're in 5 minutes. We're doing a Perseus giveaway. All you need to go to is the Gleam link that Arturius just posted in chat, or you can scan that QR code on your screen. Go ahead and enter that Perseus giveaway. We're giving away a Perseus with 120 months insurance tonight. Tom, thank you for sending your community over here. Hope you're well, buddy. Nice to see you. Yeah, we've been talking all things Star Citizen tonight. It's been a good discussion. We are just wrapping up. It's actually going to bring this over here real quick to show everybody. This is the Gleam giveaway page here. You can all see that the giveaway ends at 9 p.m. my time. It is 8:56 my time right now. So we're 4 minutes away from this giveaway ending for an RSI Perseus. So get in on that while you can. There are 18,000 entries. Now, that's just tickets that have been put out. Remember, some people have a lot more tickets because y'all have been showing up to streams, watching, you get multipliers and bonuses. But at the end of the day, it could be that single person with a single ticket that wins. Okay. And remember, for those of you that hung out tonight, puts you in good standing for the Ironclad giveaway that we'll do next year. So stay tuned for that. But again, 4 minutes
And
away on that. Yep.
Just for the people, I'm seeing a lot of exclamation tickets, guys. It's not in
Yes.
exclamation tickets. It is in the Gleam link that is pinned at the top.
Yep. That's true. Gleam link
And
pinned to the top of
I'll
chat.
post it again.
There
For
you go.
those that don't have it,
Go to that
so
Gleam
make
link.
sure we're going there. Or you can keep doing tickets, Max,
That's
and
whatever-
everybody else will quietly laugh
So,
and
yeah.
think or hate me that I brought it up. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
So make
There's
sure
a
you do
big
that.
smile on my face that you're wasting those tickets. Anyway,
But Tom, once again, buddy, appreciate you bringing your community over here. That's amazing. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for the follows, the subscriptions tonight. I really appreciate it. Camaraderie just told me to stretch, which I did. Thank you very much. It's been awesome tonight. Been talking to Execute. Before we talk about or do the giveaway, before we do that, because we're only minutes away, I want to go back to the possible ships that could come this year. And I want to add one more to this list. And that is, if it goes into pre-production, possibly Banu, right? With the where is it? And the Banu logo is not working, so I'll have to solve that was the worst thing. But possibly the Banu logo, if the Merchant Man goes
fire the
in.
guy that makes this.
I know.
You should fire the guy that makes it. He's terrible.
He's kind of a lazy. Oh, it's not. There we go.
It's getting sent on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe it just didn't like. No. Oh, no, here it is. I just put a shit ton of them down here. I didn't realize I moved off screen that much. Okay, there we go. Could be the Banu Merchantman. Maybe going into pre-production, which I would call production. So here's my thoughts
Not
on
coming
that.
out, but production. I'll give you
Right,
production,
right,
but I
right,
won't give you
right.
coming out. Yeah.
Yes. The only reason I'll add that is because I do know people are excited for that ship. And if that gives you a little bit of hopium that CIG has not forgotten about it, I'm going to put it on the
think
list
the-
just for good standing.
I think the only problem with that is they said that's ships that are coming out next year.
Ah, damn. You know
so
what?
you
You're right.
can't
You're right.
can't include that.
Yeah. You know what? You're right. Oops, sorry. You know what? You're right. And because of that, I'm going to have to click on it and I'm going to have to hit delete. Yeah, it's gone. Sorry, everyone.
And with that, everyone's dreams are shattered.
That was
All
Execute,
good.
everybody. Destroying.
Execute.
No,
It
it
was
was
a thief
grim.
of
It
joy.
was grim. It was grim. He
Thief
pressed
of
the
joy.
delete key. He pressed the delete key.
Yes.
Wasn't me.
Yes. I'm sorry, everyone. Listen,
Don't worry, Graham. I'll remove his permissions right
yes,
now.
Absolutely. Listen, everybody, I want to say something here before we do the giveaway. It's been an awesome IAE. I've had a lot of, even in my traveling, because I did a vacation right during the middle of IAE, of course, it's been a hell of a lot of fun talking to Execute, talking to Art, talking about all the people in the STARJUMP community, all the people in the wider Star Citizen community, just about the new ships and the talks and the sales and the this and that. It happens every year, and it's a lot of fun because it's a time where we can all come together and sort of have these conversations and stuff. And it was a fun IAE. There was a lot of excitement going on, and a lot of that kind of unexpected stuff happening with the Dragonfly referrals and the patch bundles being sold and the best in show paints being sold. I saw a lot of places where people were able to find like the thing that made them happy that they were waiting on, and I think from that standpoint, this was a very successful IAE for CIG, not just from a money raised standpoint, but from a goodwill standpoint. I feel like CIG did enough to make enough people happy that this is a good one. This is a good one.
It's definitely more interesting than the last couple of years that felt a bit boring, a bit samey, very predictable. It didn't feel predictable this year, which is a good thing.
I agree.
In my book, and by that I mean the ships and stuff like that. They had little surprises and stuff.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. All right, everybody, it is time. It is time to do the Perseus giveaway, and to do this properly, I've got the wrong image up because that one's got the QR code, but the giveaway is over. So we're going to throw this one up. Okay. But it's time to do the Perseus giveaway. I can't show Gleam when I actually hit the pull the winner button because it will dox the person. So I've got to do it off
So
screen.
can
Yep.
I just make a suggestion?
Yes.
Right? So you know how it doxes the person, but does it like have their name and then below it has their address?
It has their it has like their email and stuff.
Yeah, but if it has their, does it have their name, or is it just their name, email address, or is it just the email?
I think it's the name and the email, actually.
So what you can do is in OBS, you can, if you made that full screen and it always appears in the same place, you can literally zoom right in and crop it to just the name.
Yeah, put
and
a
you can
box
have that
over
appear,
it.
and you can have that appear over there.
Oh,
So when you click
yeah.
the button, it just pops up. I'll show you how to do it later.
Okay.
Or I can. Yep.
So we're going to pull this again, real quick, go over how this is going to work. Okay. So I'll draw the winner. Everyone who went to the Gleam link, there was several ways to enter. It was all free. Hopefully you did them all. Some of you over the last 2 weeks, by showing up for StarJump streams, were able to earn extra tickets just by being in the stream and watching. It's not like 3,000 tickets, but you got a couple of extra tickets divvied up by the percentage of time you watched. Okay, that was all done third party. I didn't have to touch any of that. Those of you that donated to the previous charities got an extra ticket as well when you donated to St. Jude. Okay, but at the end of the day, this could be anyone's win. All it takes is one ticket. Okay, if you win, if you win, you have 5 days to get back to me. Okay, I'm going to email you too with the email you registered.
Eternity.
I know you get 5 days.
5 minutes. No.
In case you're in the hospital or something, you get 5 days. If you do not contact me in 5 days, we're going to draw another winner. Okay, so this episode will be up on Twitch. It'll be up on YouTube. I've said it. I've been very clear. This is recorded. You have 5 days to claim the prize. And yes, I will reach out to you. I'll probably reach out to you multiple times if you don't respond, but you have 5 days.
This sounds like one of those young teenage movie plots from the 80s. We've got 5 days to let them know.
I know.
But the car's out of fuel. We can't get there in time.
And once again, before I hit that button again, thank you, Tom, for the raid tonight. Really appreciate that, buddy. We got 551 watching over on Twitch and 322 watching on YouTube. So do appreciate that. People like the Perseus. If you are watching tonight and you win the Perseus, then you will get to choose a skin. Okay. Here we go. Doing a winner in 3, 2, 1. Drawing a winner. Hitting draw. Stand by. I will. Okay. We have a winner. It is Sir Barbetta. Sir Barbetta. Sir Barbetta. I don't know if Sir Barbetta is watching. Sir Barbetta. That was followed on X. Sir Barbetta.
Apparently it's rigged.
Totally rigged.
Yep.
Sir Barbetta, congratulations on winning the RSI Perseus. I hope you enjoy it. It's an awesome ship.
Is he in chat? Has anyone seen him in chat?
Let's see. Sir Barbetta.
They are here. So Darkness Mute said they are here.
Sir Barbetta.
Yep. They're in chat.
Are they on Twitch or YouTube?
They are on Twitch.
Okay.
Get in contact with Grim on Discord as quickly as possible because you've only got 11 hours to get your skin. You need to be quick. You need to be so quick, or you're not going to get a skin you want.
Yes, Sir Barbetta.
Yeah.
If you are on Twitch, which you are, that was a stupid thing to say. You whisper me on Twitch. Okay, whisper me on Twitch. Okay.
Now I know you're tired. Hey, if you're on Twitch, which you are, like.
Oh, wait a minute. I just found you. I'm going to whisper you right now, and I'm going to say congrats. Okay. I'm going to need to get I just whispered you, Sir Barbetta. I'm going to need to get your email. Oh, actually, I have your email. I already have your email. I'm going to contact you and talk with you after this stream ends, and I will get you your ship. Because you were on the stream, you can choose a Perseus skin of your choice. It can be the time limited one, which I forget what it's called. It can the Insight skin. It can be the Concierge skin. It can be any of the other skins. Yeah, but all you got to do is tell me which skin you want, and I'll send that to you as well. Congrats, everyone. thank you for being part of that. That was amazing. It's been a really successful giveaway. Again, a lot of people showed up for it, and I want to remind everyone, and I'll go ahead and kind of announce this: the giveaways won't stop with just what we did this year with the Perseus. I think I gave away another big ship earlier this year. I forget which one it was. I got 2 more big giveaways for 2026. The first one, as I told you earlier, is going to be the Ironclad. That will be for Invictus. And then for IAE, I will be giving away an RSI Galaxy. So stay tuned. Follow the channel.
They better do an Iron Chad skin. That's all I can say.
They better do an Iron Chads.
Also, don't forget, Grim did do a wonderful series on Plague.
Yes.
Learning to play Star Citizen.
Please.
So definitely go give that a like.
You
give
know
it a
what?
follow. Give it a share.
Thank you very much for saying that. You know, everyone, when we do these streams, they always ask me how the referrals are going since doing the new player's guide, and we always check it live on stream. So let's go ahead and check it. We are up to 6 recruits, baby.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. 6 recruits. I officially got my gold Archibald Hurston figurine. Okay. There you go.
Nice.
Oops, I realize I'm not showing my window. There we go. We're at 6 recruits. Officially got my gold Archibald Hurston figurine.
So we're several steps closer now to the
to the Misk Raptor. And again, remember what I told everybody. If I get up to a Misk Raptor and unlock that, we're gonna put it into Fleet Viewer. Okay, we're gonna put it in the Fleet Viewer. Okay, everyone, that was absolutely amazing. I hope you all had a great time this stream. We had a huge turnout. I want to do a big shout out to my buddy Execute for coming on and talking spaceships with me. Execute, where can people find you, please?
This bed over here in about 5 minutes.
I'm the funny one. I'm the funny one.
You are not the funny one. I was a comedian, bro. Didn't you know that? I was literally a comedian for a long time. Anyway, no. You can find us on Infrunners on YouTube and Twitch.
Yeah.
Most of you guys know us. If you want to know us, we do guides and
really great content.
We talk a lot. We do a lot what Grim does.
Yeah.
You know,
and
I think the only thing we probably do more is the CCU and upgrades.
Yeah,
you still know what we're doing there anyway. So,
and one of the earliest supporters of STARJUMP. So as always, Execute, thank you for doing that, buddy. I always appreciate it, as welcome. You know. And yeah, Art, thank you as well for coming to hang out tonight. I know you've had a hell of a week, so thanks for taking the time to stop by. Everyone in chat, you're all amazing. It's been awesome, IAE. Thank you for all the follows. I really do appreciate all the subscriptions as well. All that support, by the way, does go back into STARJUMP content for sure. We are looking at ways to boost STARJUMP Fleet Viewer and make it better than ever. We're looking at other ways of doing content and merch and all kinds of stuff. So that's coming. I'm going to start the raid tonight over on Twitch. I'm going to be sending you over to someone who's got quite a few people watching, but has always supported me in the past with raids. So we're going to send you over to him. Going to send you all over to Zero State. Make sure you give him some STARJUMP love. Say hello to him. Give him the big 07, all that kind of good stuff. Everyone, have a great night. It's been awesome. Stay tuned for Thursday.
Citizens.
Take it easy.